The 3 o'clock games to look forward to, of course, it is Motherwell against Hibernian at Fir Park. We'll have updates from there. A live commentary is going to come from Tynecastle for a game that could be Hearts against Kilmarnock. Alan Preston and Gary Holt will be there. Right now it's Al Lamont, our commentator, with the team news.
Hi Rich, yes indeed, Hearts making 3 changes from the defeat on Thursday night out in Trondheim against Rosenborg, but much improved in the second half certainly, and certainly a good chance to progress in Europe. But the changes are as follows. Alex Cochrane is still suspended domestically after his dismissal on the final day of last season, so he drops out, as does Benny Beningame, who seemed to be injured and really been at fault for the second goal out against Rosenborg, so he's out of the squad as well, and Alan Forrest drops to the bench. The 3 players coming in are Stephen Kingsley and Peter Haring, who both came on in that game, and Kyosuke Tagawa starts up front for Hearts. He didn't travel to Norway for work permit reasons, so they go Xander Clark in goal. Back 4 of Nat Atkinson, Frankie Kent, Kai Rowles and Stephen Kingsley. Cameron Devlin and Peter Haring in the centre of the park. Yutaro Oda and Alex Lowry on the flanks, with Lawrence Shanklin, the captain, in behind the aforementioned Tagawa. On the bench for Hearts, it's McGovern, Neuenhoff, Boyce, Halliday, Forrest, Sibic, Denham, Wilson, and first chance for the Hearts supporters potentially to get a new sighting of new signing Kenneth Vargas on the pitch. He is listed on the bench today. As for Killie, you won't be too surprised to hear that they go with the exactly same side that started against Rangers in the superb victory last weekend at Rugby Park. That means that Will Dennis continues in goal behind a back 3 of Lewis Mayo, Robbie Dees and Stuart Finlay. Danny Armstrong and Corey Ndaba in the wing-back positions. Brad Lyons, the match winner, of course, continues in front of that defence, with David Watson and Kyle McGuinness also in central midfield, and Matty Kennedy and Marley Watkins are the front pair for Killie. On the bench for them, it's O'Hara as the sub-keeper, Sanders, Davies, Donnelly, Holworth, McKenzie, Murray, Cameron and Vassell. The referee here this afternoon is David Dickinson, and the VAR is Greg Aitken.
Thank you, Al. Al will be describing the action, as I mentioned, in the company of Gary Holt and Alan Preston. Let's say good afternoon to the guys and get their thoughts ahead of the team news. Alan, first of all, Hearts, of course, this familiar territory, I guess, for them, given what the demands placed upon them last season, playing on a Sunday after European action. What are you making of that team selection?
I think the changes were inevitable, Richard. Benny Beningame for me should never have started excuse me, during the week, but they chose him and he was at fault for a couple of goals. I don't blame him for that. They just looked well shot. So Haring's in, who played well against St Johnstone. Lowry was very, very good when he came off the bench last weekend against St Johnstone as well, and Kingsley in for Cochrane, who's suspended. So I think that they're fairly standard changes for Hearts. They can get better once Boyce is fully up to speed and fit as well. I still think they need a right back as well, and then I think Hearts' squad will be complete. But that's a competitive side, Richard, that will be up against it today. You know, Kilmarnock are a very, very good side. We've seen that last week, and I think they're 1 defeat in 8 against Hearts. So it's going to be a tough game. Coming back on the Friday, Hearts travelling, be tired, but it's no excuses. It's a wonderful day for football in Edinburgh. But biblical rain about an hour ago, but it's light now. Pitch is in wonderful condition, so we're hoping for a really good game.
I think a lot of people looking forward to that one, Alan. I'm sure Gary Holt is, and Killie, of course, no midweek game for them. They'll have been absolutely bouncing and buoyant all week long, won't they, Gary?
Yeah, 100%, and no surprises. It's the same starting 11, to be honest. And looking at it, I don't see too many changes. He could have made probably Vassell, if he's up to speed, might come in at the top, but the boys done great last weekend and thoroughly deserve their opportunity to go and stamp their name to the shirts for the remaining games going forward for this month. My recollection is that Killie have got a fairly decent record at Tynecastle. Did you enjoy a bit of success heading across there, Gary? Yeah, I did. I think initially my career at Kilmarnock we kind of won a couple, lost a couple, but then we suddenly got a wee spell of continuous wins, and it's like Biscuit said, it's a fantastic place to come and play football. The pitch is amazing, and it's one that you enjoy. The fans have been so close to the pitch. Certainly the atmosphere will be bouncing today, and it's one sitting up here that you want to be down there playing football on. So hopefully the Kilmarnock players will embrace it.
Well, I listened in to the commentary and then watched the highlights of that game in Rugby Park last week. I mean, there was a real, in some ways, in terms of the way they were organised and defensively solid, it was very Derek McInnes, if you like. But my goodness, what an attacking intent they showed, and a real dynamism about the performance. They'll be looking very much to recreate that this afternoon.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's something they've got to buy into, is the work ethic. They've got some talent in the side of ball players like young Armstrong, and Kennedy's a good carrier of the ball, but there's not too much creativity in the side, and that's not me being detrimental to them. That they're honest players, they work hard, but they've got to do it every game. As well talked about their away form last year, so they need to turn that around, and they've got a great surface today to go and showcase what they've done last week, can they implement it this week. And if they can get a goal up, they are resolute, they do defend very well, and they'll make it hard for Hearts if they can get that goal in front.
Hearts didn't quite get the same headlines, I suppose, Alan, for their opening day victory up at McDermott Park, and we'll kind of reflect on what happened to St Johnstone yesterday in a little bit, but nevertheless it was a really, really good win. They had to be patient, they got a couple of late goals, didn't they? And quite apart from the fact that there has been the demand of Europe in the middle of the week there, they've got to be really confident too, haven't they? Yeah,
Richard, going to McDermott Park for Hearts has never been a good venue for them to go to. I think it was 1 win in 11 years they've had up there, so that's them doubled that now. And for an hour it was a very even game, but they brought on Beningame, who done well actually when he came on for 15 minutes. Boyce, Lowry came on, made a big impact, and then Hearts got better in the last half an hour and won out 2-0, so that was a big start for them. Going away, I think you're sitting 2-0 watching the game and thinking if this goes to 3 the tie could be over. They make the changes, give the management team all the credit for making the changes, and Haring comes on, Kingsley comes on, plays in a lovely ball, and Shankland gets a header and gets them back in the tie for what should be a cracker on Thursday night. So it's been a good start from Hearts. 2-1 away to Rosenborg in Europe. It's not a bad result at all, Richard. Coming here Thursday under the lights, packed Tynecastle, this place will be bouncing, but they've got to get through this one today. This will be a real tough game. We touched on it, that Kilmarnock have got a brilliant record here, really good. They must love coming playing here. There's no excuses from either sets of players today. It's wonderful conditions, and with Kilmarnock coming buoyant and Hearts coming off what is a reasonable result in Europe, I think this should be a really good game. I think we'll get goals as well.
Really looking forward to it. We'll all be listening into that from 3 o'clock. Alan and Gary there with Al Lamont. We'll get the thoughts, no doubt, of the managers and the build up to that one as well. I'll tell you, I'll just interrupt briefly because I think we can go live to Tynecastle where Stephen Naismith is with Al.
Yes, thanks for joining us, Stephen. I guess you'll be looking to build clearly in the opening day win and what was, to my mind, a much improved second half out in Trondheim.
Yeah, I think that's the part that's harder for us as in a group is the lack of competitive games when you come at this time of the season. I think that's what you've seen in the 2 games. There's been very good elements, and there's been parts where it's shown that we've not that run of competitive matches, so it's about just continuing to have more of the good moments, because I think in the 2 games so far there has been really positives from building on what we done last season. So yeah, we'll hope that today, first home game in the league, and we were good at last season getting the crowd involved and getting them behind us, and that's what you want to start this game this afternoon like.
But you'll be expecting a tough afternoon, I guess, from your old club, who clearly had a brilliant result and performance last weekend, and actually having prepared thoroughly for this game, realise they've got a really good record at Tynecastle as well.
Yeah, I think that first of all their recruitment in the summer's been really good, and that's something that has made them a much more dangerous team, but also a much more secure team. I think you could see that last week in their performance. And they've got a very good manager that's very experienced in leading them, so we know it'll be a tough game. But I said that consistently last season, we need to go and cause them more problems than they cause us. And after watching their game last week, they've got their threats, and it's about us dealing with that. But then when we've got the ball, like I said, causing them as many problems as we can.
And in terms of your own threats, you've obviously brought Kioski Tagawa in for, I think it was his first start. You've got another new signing, Kenneth Vargas, on the bench. I guess the fans can be excited about seeing other glimpses of them.
Yeah, but again, it's that moment they've come in. Everything, they're not going to understand everything that we want to do as a team, so it's about constantly working with them day to day, and going over exactly the kind of do's and don'ts and the things that we really rely on to make our game plan work. But I think today's the right moment that we can start Kioski in training. As the time has went on and the more sessions he's had, he's looked very sharp, and I think you've seen that last week as well with the chance he has in the game, that he's got some real qualities for us and he brings something different than the others in that area.
We wish you well this afternoon. Thanks for your time, Steve.
Stephen Naismith there with Al. Alan Preston there at Tynecastle. Just interested listening to Stephen, and he's talking there about him having decided this and that. I thought Frankie McAvoy had said he had the final say in terms of team selection.
Well, Frank's out taking the warm-up with Gordon Forrest. That's why Stephen's done the interview. There's a big thing being made about the Hearts management, and it's confusing for everybody, to be honest. But they've put it out that Stephen is, whatever he is, and Frankie McAvoy's the manager, so they've got to run with that. That's the way they've got to do it because of Europe, I'm afraid, because they need to have a pro licence holder who's at the head of the structure, and that one is Frankie McAvoy. So this is going to be discussed forevermore. We talked about it last week. I believe it was talked about yesterday as well.
Right.
The interview between Stephen Naismith and Frank McAvoy was excruciating to watch. It was a horrible watch, the two of them standing next to each other, and whoever sanctioned that should not be allowed to do it again, because it wasn't a nice watch for any Hearts fan. But it is what it is, and if they're saying that Stephen's he's not the head coach, then fine, fair enough, let's get on with it. There's more pressing points for Hearts than that. There really is. I think it's great that they've got starting debut for Tagawa today here at Tynecastle. Lowry's been exciting since he's come in, and if we can see Kenneth Vargas, a new Costa Rican, that would be great for them. So yeah, it's going to be a talking point until it's resolved, or until it changes, or until they're out of Europe, or whatever it is. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I'll let you back in a minute, but I think the bottom line is that for as far as Scotland are concerned, the Scottish FA, the SPFL, then he's fine because he started his pro licence.
But that's the problem, Richard. Sorry for butting in, but that is the problem. They've got to align the club licence in Scotland with the European licence. It's a very simple formula, to be perfectly honest. And then you pick the manager based on that. You can't have two different separate processes. It doesn't make sense. And this is what causes. What was caused.
So would that mean that Stephen Naismith couldn't be the head coach at Hearts?
Absolutely.
In Europe?
No. If you change it, if you align them.
What they should do is align it, and for future now, it's happened now because it's out of alignment, and that's the problem. And then whoever's picking a manager for any team knows that they have to have a pro license. And that's it basically. And unfortunately for the guys in the game, you've got to get on your pro, like you've got to get your aid, your pro, and so on.
We're heading live, and that's the reason I'm interrupting you, because Al Lamont is poised now with Derek McInnes.
Yeah, Derek's with me, and Derek, I guess it must have been quite a good atmosphere around the place, having got such a great result last weekend, and you'll be really looking forward to this one, I guess, as well.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. Obviously when you have a level of performance like that, especially at this stage of the season against a club like Rangers, there is a feel-good factor from it, that kind of extra bounce. It's still the same 3 points as any other victory, so just delighted we put in the level of performance we did, because it needed to be that. Now it's just about trying to make sure we've worked hard again this week. As professionals, you move on to the next game pretty quickly, so it's important that we try and replicate a lot of what we did, and we've spoke to the players about that. And now we come away from our own environment. It's important that we still carry ourselves and have the certainty about what we're doing, in and out of possession. So hopefully we can be good enough in the game today to try and get another positive result.
You'll probably be sick talking about last season's away record, but one thing I did notice actually was if you go back to the end of last season, you won 2 of your last 3, albeit that was the only 2 you won. But at least if you
fair, I'm hanging on to that 2 wins out of the last 3. I said I sound like Craig Brun. No, we actually did feel as though we had a good level of performance at St Mirren and Tannadice the back end of the season. and I thought we had obviously an away record that was just pitiful. It was way short of what was expected, and we can't have the same situation this time around. I think it's important we try and judge this new squad based on what they do, not what we did last season, and it's important for us to try and replicate being as strong as we were at home last season, but trying to show that confidence and assurance, experience, know-how on the road as well. And we won here last season in the Cup, but with league form, it took far too long to have any real kind of confidence in results away from home. Hopefully we can change that quickly starting today.
And as you were talking about, you've had the week to concentrate on whatever you want to concentrate on. Hearts have had the trip away to Trondheim and so on. Do you see their game, and what are you expecting from them this afternoon?
Yeah, I watched the game. I thought Hearts, obviously Lawrence's goal keeps the tie finally poised, and it's a reminder, if Lawrence gets service, he can score goals, as he's shown for years now. I think Hearts can take care of him. I think Hearts will be better for having had the game. I think you've seen from all the teams not really playing in the League Cup sections, maybe a kind of slow progression in terms of level of performance. And players need that, that competitive games, and I think Hearts will be better the day after Thursday, and I think Celtic Rangers will be the same, and Hibs, etc. So I think Hearts will get through that tie, but for now it's obviously there'll be an adjustment for one or two of their players, the demands of playing in Europe and getting ready again. I always found at Aberdeen that when you had a home game to come back to, it was slightly easier to deal with, and not a lot of travelling again. But we've spoken about that as a team. We're now playing with 6 competitive matches, so we're ahead of Hearts in that sense, and I think we've got to try and make that count for something, and have a good edge to our game, get good tempo with the ball, and good aggression, and covering the distance and doing the yards out of possession, and hopefully that plays a part. The players who haven't played here before will enjoy playing here, but we'll only enjoy it if we play well, and the intention is to play well enough to get a win.
All the best for this afternoon, Derek. Thanks for your time. Thanks again.
Yeah, Derek McInnes there. I remember that night up at Tannadice. He was talking about they were outstanding that night, Kilmarnock, and thoroughly deserved the victory. Just listening into him there, Gary, I must admit, when Derek initially went to Kilmarnock, I think a lot of people probably felt it might be a fairly short-term engagement, and that there may be bigger jobs out there for him around the horizon. But he's now been there a few seasons. He's got the promotion. He's stabilised them. He's got them off to an absolute flyer this season in terms of League Cup and that opening game against Rangers. And he sounds a very content manager right now, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely, but obviously winning the first game at home against Rangers certainly helps that. I think obviously his stock took a dent last year, because obviously we were fighting relegation up until the last couple of weeks of the season, so he's right in one way. He's got a lot of new players in this season, so can we judge them on last year's away form when it's probably a new side? So he's right in that aspect. Let's judge them on today and take it from there. He does seem a wee bit more content. He did talk about the fact that the away record was really shocking, and he wasn't happy with it, and if you talk to him away from football and you get a chat with him, he was disgusted by it. He didn't enjoy it, so he's got a chance to put it right, and today is hopefully the one where, as Biscuit touched on, we've got a very good record as a club, and it's one you should enjoy playing in front of a capacity crowd.
Well, you know Derek well, of course, and you watched his teams up here for many years. There have been times when, and clearly, look, the job does, and how you respond to the job does very much depend on results. And there were times towards the end here that it sounded like it was hard going for Derek, because there was a section of the fans were against him. Certainly, at times results weren't good. The type of football was getting criticised. Just listening to him there, he sounds almost younger, he sounds enthused, he sounds vibrant, and the Derek McInnes that we saw at Pittodrie in the earlier years.
I think it was that Tony Docherty that was holding him back, Richard, to be perfectly honest, and as soon as he's getting rid of Tony, he's become a different person. But yeah, listen, I think Derek McInnes is a well-respected manager. I think we've all watched him work, and I've certainly watched him closely here at Pittodrie, and he gave us some very happy moments. Celtic were dominant, and at times it was Celtic that was standing in his way to lift a number of trophies. He did get the one, of course, but that was quite some time back. I think, he's went to Kilmarnock. You've got to convince the fans as well, and I think that you convince fans by getting results and performances. Results are more important than performances, but if you get results, the performances usually come along with it. He does sound, a bit more content. I've watched him a couple of times. I've tipped him to be the surprise package this season, to be honest. I think defensively they're looking really strong, a nice shape about them. I think Derek McInnes's teams are always defensively strong, but that wasn't the case last season. I think this season they will be. A great opening result for them against Rangers, absolutely fantastic. And I think when you get a result like that, then it does put a smile on your face, and it makes you a little bit more happy and a little bit more content. And I think he'll have a good season this season.
Well, both Derek and the Hearts management looking for 2 wins out of 2 to kick off this 23-24 season. We've already brought you the win for Celtic here at Pittodrie. 3-1 it was to make it 2 wins out of 2. Our second commentary of the afternoon comes from Tynecastle. You can hear the reaction in the background as Hearts and Kilmarnock make their way out onto the pitch. It's full live commentary with Gary Holt, Alan Preston and Al Lamont.
Thanks very much, Richard. Yes, welcome to Tynecastle for a really intriguing contest between two sides looking to join Celtic and St Mirren on 6 points by the close of play. It's a warm but drizzly day down Gorgie Way. The pitch should be slick, and though not quite a full house as usual, the atmosphere is good inside this marvellous stadium. The teams go through the handshakes. Hearts in their maroon tops, white shorts, maroon socks. Killie in blue and white stripes, blue shorts and blue socks. A quick run through the teams once more just ahead of kick-off. Hearts making 3 changes from the 2-1 defeat out in Norway on Thursday, with Kingsley, Haring and Tagawa coming in for Cochrane, Beningame and Forrest. It means Xander Clarkson goals, a back 4 of Atkinson, Kent, Rowles and Kingsley, Devlin and Haring in midfield, Oda, Shanklin and Lowry in behind Tagawa. Up front for Kilmarnock, same starting 11 from last Saturday when they got that hugely impressive victory over Rangers on the opening day. It's Will Dennis in goal, back 3 of Mayo, Dees and Finlay. Armstrong and Daba are the wing backs. Lyons, the captain, just in front of the defence, with Watson and McGuinness also in central midfield, and Kennedy and Watkins up front. The referee this afternoon is David Dickinson, who is just speaking to both captains, Brad Lyons and Lawrence Shanklin, with a coin toss in the centre of the park as we prepare to get underway. 3-1 Celtic in the early kick-off. We'll keep you right up to date with events at Fir Park between Motherwell and Hibernian. But here, the live commentary is Hearts against Kilmarnock. Hearts with the opening day win at McDermott Park. Both goals coming late on in that one, but by all accounts a deserved victory, and Kilmarnock certainly deserving a victory. One I watched myself at Rugby Park. Really impressive. Can they keep that up here this afternoon against Hearts? They have a terrific record here, Kilmarnock, albeit they lost last time out. 3-1 it was, but that was their only defeat here in their last 8 visits. It's quite remarkable, and in fact in the last 8 games against Hearts in total, that is also their last defeat, their only defeat I should say, as they tried to come forward in the early stages, but it all comes off the head of Danny Armstrong. It's out for a Hearts throw-in. Hearts going from right to left as we look at it from the back of the Wheatfield stand, and Alan Preston, you'll have I guess been encouraged by the second half showing from Hearts in midweek, and hoping that from a Hearts perspective that continues this afternoon.
Yeah, I thought they were very good in the second half, got back into the tie. This is a heavy challenge there by Lyons on Kingsley. No, it was I think the substitutions made a big difference on Thursday, bringing the likes of Haring on and Kingsley on as well. They made a big impact when they came on. Kingsley playing the ball in for Lon Shanklin to score a good header. but it's back to domestic business. As you rightly said, Kilmarnock got a terrific record here at Tynecastle, so it should be an interesting game out.
It is an early free kick for Hearts after that aerial challenge by Lions on Kingsley, and the free kick goes Hearts way, just inside the Killie half. It's going to be taken by Lowry out on the Hearts left, just a couple of yards in from the touchline, but Hearts are throwing plenty of bodies forward to the edge of the box as the ball comes in. Haring gets ahead and pushed away to the left and behind for a corner kick. Yeah, the offside flag is up. Haring, and indeed Will Dennis wasn't to know that as he threw himself to his left. It was a decent save, one you'd expect him to make, Gary Holt, but a warning sign early on for Kilmarnock.
Yeah, definitely, and especially seeing as Kilmarnock's got three big centre halves, and Davies can play centre half as well. They'll be disappointed, but they held the line well, and the keeper's made a good save there. So worrying in one aspect that he got a free header, but the goalie done his job and managed to get it away.
Yeah, Will Dennis was terrific when called upon last weekend, just like his teammates really, albeit he didn't have all that much to do, which is a great credit to what was effectively a back five last weekend. But this is a different challenge.
I will already see a problem for Kilmarnock because Shanklin's dropping into the hole. One of the centre halves of Kilmarnock's got to go and pick him up. It was Dees that time going away into midfield. They're not happy to do it because Hearts will rotate in there. One of these centre halves is going to have to jump forward into the midfield, and it's going to be an uncomfortable afternoon for one of them because they're right out of position there.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Maybe forcing Derek McInnes, who does generally like to try and respond to any tactical tweaks from the opposition, so we'll see if he picks up on that early on as Devlin wins the ball on the halfway line and plays it out to Kingsley just inside the Kilmarnock half. 3 minutes in, it's still 0-0 between Hearts and Kilmarnock. Devlin has it, halfway line out to Kingsley once more. Facing up is Armstrong, and then Lowry, who perhaps didn't manage to get quite as involved as he and the Hearts fans would have liked against Rosenborg, but he tries the big switch, comes off Kyle McGuinness and out for a throw-in on this near side to Hearts, just inside their own half. Kingsley to take, looking for options down this left-hand side. Shankland, as Alan says, is dropping off the front with Tagawa, the out-and-out striker, but as he also points out, there's a good amount of interchange there with Lowry and Shankland drifting into each other's positions. Oda's sticking out on the right hand side for now as Kingsley takes another throw in down the left hand side, headed forward there by Lewis Mayo, who looks to me to be a good permanent acquisition for Kilmarnock, having enjoyed a good season on loan from Rangers last time. Oda picks up on the halfway line. It's a poor ball for, although Dees reads it and plays it short to Lyons, who nudges it back to Mayo, and then it's back to the Killie keeper, who launches it long over the halfway line. It's won by Kent, nodded on by Haring, who's in for Beningame. Came on at half time for the beleaguered Beningame, I have to say. It's a poor first half for the midfielder in Trondheim, involved in both the Rosenborg goals, but he'll come back from that. I think he slightly injured himself in trying to pull back one of the Rosenborg players in the lead up to the second goal, and he's not involved in the squad today, but
shouldn't have been playing him.
Yeah,
too soon. 16 months out. I would start him in a European tie away from home after 10 minutes on the bench at St Johnstone. You could see he was short. I don't blame him at all. You know, I think it was a mistake by the management team, and they rectified that at half time. I think he was going to have to come off anyway injured, but I felt sorry for him.
Yeah, it was a tough first 45 for him, that's for sure. Frankie McAvoy, when I asked him about it post-match, said he'd earned the start and they felt he was ready, but you're right, Alan, he definitely didn't look it to me. Anyway, Hearts have it, edge of their own penalty area, 5.5 minutes in, no goals yet. Peter Haring's header from an offside position, the only real test for either keeper so far. It's a ball forward, and that's Finlay having to keep a close eye both on Shankland and the ball as it came through, but he dealt with that fine and got it back to his keeper as Shankland just tried to peel away on the right shoulder. A good defending from the on loan centre back in his fourth spell at Killie, 3 of those on loan from Oxford United this time.
Is that a record?
It will be.
I mean, he signed him for a club 4 times.
Haring nudges it forwards. Shankland down for Devlin. Devlin back to Kai Rowles, the Australian, plays it square to his central defensive partner Frankie Kent. And out it goes to Oda on the right hand side, just inside his own half. Hearts just probing for ways through. Kilmarnock sitting relatively deep just at the moment.
So there's Dees jumping out again. Derek's clearly told him, whoever's closest to Shanklin, just go all the way with them.
Here's Rowles stepping forward, tries the pass for Shanklin, a little dummy there, doesn't quite come off for Atkinson, and Kilmarnock can try and break as McGuinness feeds it out to the left hand side, and Matty Kennedy picks up, cutting in off the left. A good pass infield for Watson, back to Kennedy, just tries to lift it over the Hearts defence, doesn't get quite enough on it, and Oda picks up possession. A neat turn from the Japanese, who looks bright at the start of this season, and then Shanklin feeds it with the outside of the right foot. Won't catch that one, will Tagawa, and it's out for a throw-in in this near side. Gary, if you're the Kilmarnock manager, are you happy with that tactic of one of your central three going in and following Lawrence Shanklin, who's so clever in those areas?
I think is that they've obviously worked on it, also, but the thing is the other two have got to be switched on. They really have. They can't switch off and think, well, we're only dealing with one, because there'll be runners beyond. Oda's a clever player, Lowry's very clever as well, so if one of them switches off while Dees goes in and picks up, there's going to be a big space. So it's something they've worked on. It's working so far, but Shanklin's clever. He's not just going to stand in there and he'll come wide. There was one instance early in the game he was standing wide left and Brad Lyons was over picking him up, so he's a clever boy, Lawrence, and he'll find space, and you need the back line to be very switched on for 90 minutes.
Yeah, 2 goals in his opening 2 games for the Hearts captain, just picking up where he left off last season. He scored Hearts' 8,000th league goal actually against St Johnstone last weekend, and pretty fitting, having had the season he did last year, becoming of course the first Hearts player since John Robertson to get 20 in the league, and he got 24 in total in the league by the end of the season, 28 in all competitions.
Wee man's gutted, honestly. He'll be telling you, oh brilliant Lawrence, well done. He's absolutely gutted.
Well, it was a long-standing record, wasn't it? But well, Lawrence Shanklin's next challenge is to go and do it in multiple seasons, which Robbo also did.
Easy, the wee man all the time, no problem, back of the net. He's still claiming goals now.
Here's Tagawa, well challenged by Lyons, who well, he started the season really well, Brad Lyons, in the team, because he wasn't overly involved last campaign really, but he looks to be a first pick for Derek McInnes at the start of this campaign, and he tracked Tagawa all the way and knocks it out for a throw-in as Rowles goes back the way to Kent, just on the edge of the centre circle. We're playing 9 minutes, no goals, no real fuss for either keeper as yet, as Kent gets it back from Shanklin. Kilmarnock sitting very deep just at the moment, midway inside their own half, just allowing Hearts the ball in this kind of halfway zone.
Dees is now is it right back?
Yeah, almost man marking Shanklin, isn't he? And Hearts looking to exploit the spaces that are left as Devlin tries a little back heel. Lyons had tracked him though, and is managing to clear that forward for Armstrong. Dees plays it forward down the right hand side. Kilmarnock can't keep the ball just at the moment though, and Rowell steps forward. Devlin with the flick for Lowry, gets it back to Devlin and slides Mayo, and it came off Devlin last. The referee spotted that and points for the goal kick to Kilmarnock. We've played almost 10 minutes. It's Hearts 0, Kilmarnock 0.
It's interesting because it's mostly in Kilmarnock's half, defensive half, and to continuously follow people about the park, and the mentality of doing that, they'll tire quicker, not more the mental side rather than the physical, I think, Alan, to be honest. And I think that'll pick up more space, but as long as they can keep the back door closed, it gives them the impetus to keep going.
It's quite alien to them, one of them jumping out and playing there. You know, in that, there's Robbie Dees, who's a left-sided centre-half, find himself over on the right-hand side off the park. But you know what, they look as if the three of them, Finlay, Mayo and Dees, love defending. And you know what, this has been right up their street with the looks of it so far. But it'll be interesting, because if Shanklin, there's Dees again going with Shanklin, it's what Mayo and Finlay do. They need to close the gap between they two, because Dees is the central one. If he jumps out, the other two have to narrow, make sure there's no gaps for, like say, Devlin or a Haring or a Lowry to run through.
Yeah, and Lowry's just popping up all over the park as well, just trying to confuse that Kilmarnock backline. But Kilmarnock are coping with it at this stage, although David Watson just been penalised for barging Cam Devlin to the ground. Combative teenager not allowing Devlin a moment's peace, but it will be a free kick to Hearts, 15 yards inside their own half, left of centre, to be taken by Rowles. He just plays it square to Kent. Still no goals at Fir Park between Motherwell and Hibernian. Our reporter Brian McLaughlin is there for us and will keep us up to date with any major incidents in that one. As Rowles again plays it square just inside his own half to Kent and out to the right hand side where Oda's come deep. There's a misplaced pass from him, and Kilmarnock will try and break down the left hand side, and Daba is well challenged by Oda, who recovers from his own error, and Daba takes the throw into the feet of McGuinness. Neat play from Daba, who gets the ball back from the midfielder. Oda sticking with him, breaks to Kennedy left hand side, headed away by Rowles from inside his own penalty area. Lyons takes over, plays out to the right for Armstrong, but in steps Kingsley, and now Hearts can break. Left hand side, Lowry looking to try and release Tagawa. Tagawa said he wanted it a few yards in front of him to run on to. It was almost to feet, and the Kilmarnock defender stepped in, and Kelly have it back, and it's Armstrong who tries to feed it forward for Watkins. Watkins gets it back to Armstrong, right hand side, steps away from Rowles. Neat play from Armstrong, gets it back in the angle of the box from Watson, right hand side, faced up by Haring, tries the little nutmeg, then Haring just stands strong. Kilmarnock looking for a free kick for the challenge by Haring, but it's not forthcoming. Hearts come away, missed kick there by Mayo, but Dees is on hand to just scoop it high in the air. Kingsley nods it down onto the halfway line, bit scrappy just at the moment, but Kilmarnock work it out to the right hand side. Armstrong, such a big player for them last season, and looking to continue that form this campaign as he comes in from the right hand side. He's taken out by Devlin, and that'll be a free kick to Kilmarnock in a pretty useful area, right of the just outside the angle of the penalty area on the right hand side actually. And Armstrong, well, this could be an option for either a shot or a cross. It could be dangerous, and Hearts will have to be on their toes here. 13 in, Hearts nil, Kilmarnock nil.
It's been a very good 13 minutes for Kilmarnock, very good. Like you said, Alistair, making a wee bit bitty, a bit scrappy, and then they've got the flair of Armstrong at the top end, like last season. I'd like him to score a few more goals, to be honest, as a Kilmarnock fan, but he's a constant threat at the top end of the park. For me, it's strange that teams don't try and exploit him defensively, because he's almost like a winger back, because he's playing out here, but he wants to be in the top end of the pitch, not back defending, and I've not seen too many teams push him back the other way, but that's a great opportunity.
Yeah, so it's either the right foot of Matty Kennedy or the in-swinger on the left from Danny Armstrong, who did get 12 goals, which is not a bad tally from wing. That's a poor delivery from Kennedy, headed away by Shankland, picked up by Watson, and feeds it back out to Armstrong on the right hand side. He wants Kennedy to go beyond them, but he does whip it back in, nodded on, and then nodded a goal by Dees. It's a comfortable take for Xander Clark, his first touch of the ball more or less, and he immediately fires it forward looking to release Shankland, but back goes Watson to head it down for Armstrong just inside his own half, spins away from Lowry, almost quarter of an hour gone, and it's 0-0 as Armstrong gets the better of Kingsley. He's challenged there by Devlin, good tenacity by Devlin, and then a good bit of skill as well to backheel for Lowry, but he didn't realise that Watkins was backtracking, and he dispossesses him, and then Watson steps away from Devlin. Watkins takes back over, he's lost out now, pulls back Lowry, and it will be a Hearts free kick on this left hand side. Almost quarter of an hour gone, as I say. Hearts nil, Kilmarnock nil.
It's a big threat, Armstrong, Gary, real big threat. He was terrific here last year as well, causes all sorts of concern for Kingsley or Cochran, whoever's playing on that left side for Hearts. But Lowry there just has to do things sharper. The ball comes to his feet, he's not aware of this players closing him down, he needs to move the ball quicker.
Kent lifts it over the defender on the right hand side for Hearts. Atkinson picks up but can't do much with it, and it's knocked out of play for a Hearts throw in over on the far side, which is the Hearts right.
The thing is though, Alan, it's Kingsley against Armstrong. It's almost like Kingsley doesn't want to go too high up the park, but if you maybe put a more attacking player out here and make Armstrong defend against somebody who's just as tricky, would be interesting. Maybe move Oda over this side.
Here's Rowles, more or less in the centre spot, a little bit hesitant. Shankland comes in, offers himself short. Dees, as Alan has been pointing out, tracking him all the way to almost a halfway line. Here come Kilmarnock on the break, it's Lyons. Can he find the pass on the left hand side? It's Kennedy's coming in, but Hearts get men back, and it was Kent who got the crucial touch, and then Rowles with the clearance, and Kilmarnock just with a little bit more precision would have been in there, but Lyons just didn't quite have the speed to go himself or the precision on the pass to find Kennedy, and the chance is gone. 0-0.
Great break. You just maybe held the pass a wee bit too long. He should have maybe played it earlier, but it was a great break. But then look at the work rate to get back behind the ball for Kilmarnock. That's what they're about. That's how Derek's got them going at the minute, and it's shown here.
Hearts have it inside the centre circle. Kai Rowles, the left-footed Australian centre back. He's forced to check back though, because there's no easy options for him ahead of him, so he had to go all the way back to Xander Clark just outside the D of his own penalty area. 16.5 minutes on the clock, and it's 0-0, and pretty evenly matched. Hearts probably having more of the attacking play, but Killie look a threat on the counter, as they proved just a moment ago on a slightly better pass, slightly better timed pass, as Gary's saying, might have released Kennedy on the edge of the box, but it was cut out by the Hearts defence, and that's why it's still goalless, as Hearts have a throw-in on the left-hand side, more or less in line with the 18-yard line as they attack, and it'll be taken by Kingsley. David Dickinson is asking for the throw-in to be taken again, as there was another ball in the park. It was literally being thrown off. It was virtually off. I mean, that's just nitpicking beyond belief, and I don't know, maybe I'm getting overly frustrated for nothing, but it seems pointless. Anyway, Hearts have it. Oda on the right hand side, back to Kent, just inside his own half. Again, he turns back to his goalkeeper, who promptly plays it out to Rowles. Talking of Hearts goalkeepers, Craig Gordon not too far away from a return to fitness, as Lauren Shanklin finds a lovely ball down the left for Lowry. Lowry on the left hand side of the penalty area, can't get the better there. Brad Lyons, the Kilmarnock skipper, doing a really good job, because he was one-on-one, but Lowry gets the break of the ball again, plays it back to Kingsley. Infield it goes, midway inside the Killie half. Now it's Haring for Shanklin, back to the Austrian midfielder, and now Kent rolls out to Kingsley on the left hand side. Hearts seen plenty of the ball in this attacking third, but struggling to create any clear-cut chances, and the ball's given away again, and that clearance seemed to come off Kingsley.
It's a real tactical game, it really is, and it is. It's a Kilmarnock throw, and it did come off Kingsley. That's right.
Yeah, it is.
But looking at Lowry, he's a real confident player, a confidence player as well. The crowd, if they get on his back, he may disappear. He's a young boy, remember, not had a lot of first team experience. They need to try and keep off his back. He's lost the ball a couple of times.
Yeah, the thing is, Alan, it's the hardest part of football, scoring a goal, and he's trying to create in the final third. You want to be brave and take people on. You see, if he loses it, he's lost it in the right area, and they're too quick to jump on his back there. I felt, just go and keep taking them on. At one chance you'll get past them.
Lyons takes the throw-in down the right hand side. Rowles knocks it forward. Shanklin picks up possession about 10 yards inside the Killie half. Well matched there by Mayo, and it's going to break for Kennedy. Kennedy is more or less up on his own, but he's going to run at Frankie Kent, tries to get the shot off. It's blocked by the Hearts defender, and it will be a Kilmarnock corner.
I don't know why he's not dragging the hit up his left. He was almost waiting for the defender to make an option. Sometimes you've got to make it happen. Good defending, you'd say, but I think he's got to drag it on his left and get a cleaner strike away.
Now, I didn't think Kent was a favourite there, to be honest. I thought with Kennedy running at him, drive it on with real pace, back him into the box, and you rightly say, shift it on his left foot, get the strike away. Good defending in the end.
There's a couple of times though Kilmarnock have looked pretty dangerous on the break, and if they can just maybe commit a couple of more bodies forward in those situations, they might be onto something. But they have a chance here, certainly from the corner kick to be taken from the left hand side by Kennedy. Plenty of bodies in blue and white stripes in and around that 6-yard box.
So on at the edge of the box as well.
Swung into the 6-yard box, and absolutely no one at the back post. That's such a strange, I mean, a real mix-up there, you would have to think. And it's gone out for a throw-in in this near side, and a waste of an opportunity there for Kilmarnock. 20 minutes in, no goals.
That's the frustrating thing. You throw your 3 centre-halves up, and then there's no one in that back area where the ball's played in.
Yeah, it looked like a bit of a breakdown in communication there almost, as Killie pick up though the loose ball in the middle of the park. McGuinness gets to it before Oda. He plays it out to Ndaba, who finds Kennedy looking to take on Atkinson. He takes him on the outside, left boot ball in, it's swept away by Kent up to the halfway line. Finlay, Kilmarnock looking more and more comfortable in the game. They were on the back foot for periods, but they've just lost the ball, and a chance for Hearts to break, and it was a late challenge. David Dickinson tried to play advantage. Atkinson was caught late, and he's going to bring it back with Hearts having run into trouble, and it'll be a free kick the home side's way, midway inside their own half.
I think, to go on Biscuit's point, is you can hear a wee bit of frustration in the home fans. You can start feeling it after 20 minutes that they're not happy, the ball's not going forward quick enough, and that's playing into Kilmarnock's hand. Kilmarnock won't overcommit, Arthur. It'll be on the counter break, Kennedy getting it, Armstrong getting it, picking up and running. Maybe Watson will go at times to help Watkins, but they won't overcommit. It's counter-attacking football, and we've seen for 20 minutes we're frustrated and they've had chances and probably could have done better with them.
Stephen Naismith just pulled Peter Haring over and given him a message. He's walked right over to young Alex Lowry.
Tagawa on the edge of the box trying a spectacular effort, couldn't connect with the ball. It's good play though from Lowry. Kingsley's a dangerous ball, no Hearts player at the edge of the 6-yard box, but it's kept alive by Oda. Now Atkinson back to Oda, right hand side, tries to swing the ball in, comes off Ndaba, who stands firm and then knocks the ball out of play, but better from Hearts, and it was Lowry who was involved. And Kingsley's delivery from the left hand side was on a plate. Had any Hearts players gambled, but there was no takers in the middle. It's quarter of the game gone and it's still goalless, but the Hearts fans more encouraged by what they saw there as Shanklin just tries to nod it forwards inside the penalty area of Kilmarnock, but it's cleared away. Stephen Naismith out at the edge of the technical area looking to ball some instructions on to his players. Throw in taken by Atkinson right in front of the Hearts technical area. Back the way it goes to Kent, and now Rowles and out to the left hand side for Kingsley, who, as Alan mentioned earlier, put it on the head of Shanklin for the goal back in Trondheim, and it gives Hearts a real chance of qualifying, albeit they do trail 2-1 coming back here against Rosenborg on Thursday. But the tie very much alive, and having been out there for that first leg, I wasn't overly impressed by Rosenborg, and Hearts definitely have a good chance of progressing. Here is Haring, and now Atkinson, edge of the box, clips it in, it's just over Tagawa. Kingsley coming in, he can't wrap his left foot around it to get it back across goal, and it's behind for a goal kick. But more encouraging for Hearts. Again, 23 minutes in though, it's Hearts 0, Kilmarnock 0.
I think that's in the areas they can get, in the wider areas if possible. You know, Oda one side, Kingsley the other, or Lowry if possible, because it's congested in that middle of the park when you see Shanklin dropping short, the Kilmarnock back three being really tight. There's a lot of numbers in there, so they're going to have to go into the wider areas, Hearts. But I think it's a very even game. I think Kilmarnock have just had the better of the chances.
Shanklin loses out in the middle of the park to Dees. It's miscontrolled that they're the Hearts skipper, allowing Dees to step in. Armstrong forward and whipped out to the right hand side for Watson by Kennedy. Watson just leaves it to Armstrong, about 25 yards from the goal line, right out on the right touch line. Forward for Watson again, he can't quite bring it under control, but then Devlin misplaces his pass for Lowry, and it's out for a throw into Kilmarnock right hand side, midway inside the Hearts half. 24 minutes played and no goals and no major chances, you would have to say, to speak of, as Lyons plays it back to the halfway line for Mayo to Finlay, just inside the centre circle. Back it goes to Mayo, a couple of yards inside his own half, feeds it in the right channel for Kennedy, who's drifted over to this right hand side. Can he keep it in? It's just skidding off the surface. Rowles in close proximity just knocks it out of play. He was looking for the throw in, he thought it came off Kennedy last, but the throw in goes the visitors' way, just a couple of yards from the corner flag on Kelly's right. And Armstrong will leave this to young David Watson, who's just 18 years old, but has already got a monstrous throw on him, and a real bit of potential in the midfield for Kilmarnock.
Got their goal like this last week, was it a long throw in?
Yeah, it was exactly this position, Alan. It's flicked on at the near post by Dees, comes all the way back out to Watson, just pokes it beyond Devlin, tries to keep it in. Shanklin's there, and it'll be a Kilmarnock corner as Shanklin blocks the cross from David Watson. He is a young player with tremendous potential, Gary.
100%. He's probably a typical Scottish footballer. His energy, he's robust, he loves a tackle. He just needs to refine it, but that'll come with age and getting game time. But he's certainly part of the engine room for Kilmarnock week in, week out. It's somebody you can rely on for a young man, and he just needs to refine the other aspects of the game. But he's sleeves rolled up, gets stuck in, wins tackles, wins headers, and he's a willing runner.
Armstrong's corner from the right hand side, left footed. Xander Clark makes a mess of the punch. Peter Haring bails him out by just hoofing the ball out of play, but Clark offers the hand of acknowledgement because he came out, tried to one hand punch it, and he just really skiffed off his glove and fell inside the penalty area, but no Kilmarnock player was on hand to sweep it in, and Hearts survived 0-0 after 26 minutes. But that was a let-off, Alan.
A dreadful goalkeeper, really is. Decision making. He could have caught it. He comes with one punch and punches it down a yard.
Here's Kennedy. McGuinness now inside the penalty area. Just wouldn't fall for Watkins, almost taken off his toe by Watson, and Xander Clark able to gather. But the visiting fans who are encouraged just in the last few minutes. There's really nothing to pick between these sides after 26 minutes. 0-0 it stands.
Yes, I've got to say, I think Kilmarnock have had the better of the chances. The Hearts haven't really created a lot just now. Keeper's not had a safety mate. Neither has Clark, to be honest, but they've had efforts where the likes of Lyons has gone through, Kennedy's gone through. Poor punch there by Clark. It will just give Kilmarnock encouragement, and tactically so far it's been spot on from them.
It's early days, but I've heard a number of pundits and indeed some Kilmarnock players saying there's no reason why we shouldn't push for that top 6 this season, and on the early season evidence they're not far off the mark, I would suggest, Gary.
No, they're not, but it's looking at the chances and taking chances, and we don't score a lot of goals. That's the problem, and you saw today so far, Lyons has went through, misplaced a pass, Kennedy's went through, and he's done a great bit of skill about 2 minutes later on wide and dragged on his left and whipped across on, but he doesn't take the shot on his left. So it's the thing of, it's great defending and playing in the counter attack, but if you're not scoring enough goals, it only takes one goal against you then how do we change it? But at the minute, I think we're, like Biscuit said, I think we've been on top of the game, and with chances created we're ahead, but neither goalkeepers really had a save apart from the one that Kilmarnock's goalkeeper saved, but it was the offside header.
I've got to say though, Gary, that's a completely different, it is in personnel, but the way they're playing, the confidence they've got, Kilmarnock, what a different side from last season. And Derek always said that it would take a bit of time, have to get up from the Championship and then settle in the Premier League.
It's getting energy in the team, Alan. It's getting energy in the team, and
it's
runners.
Like someone that'll put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, but I think a lot of teams are looking for that, but Kilmarnock have got energy now. They've got willing runners, so they've got Kennedy up there who just likes to travel with it. Armstrong's great. We know what he did from last year, which probably was a breakout season for him. You've got young Watson, who's a willing runner. McGuinness is a runner, so they've got that energy in there to get up and help, but we need goals.
Kilmarnock have a free kick whipped into the Hearts penalty area by Armstrong, defended, but then Watson returns it. Kent's there the second time around. Lyons trying to keep it alive. The referee almost getting in Daba's way as he tried to get on the ball, and it's broken back to the halfway line to Armstrong. Down the left hand side it goes off. Finlay breaks off Ndaba as Atkinson tries to clear, and all the way behind for a Hearts goal kick, which allows us an opportunity to cross the Fir Park to hear what's been happening in the early stages here from Brian McLaughlin.
Still 0-0 here, Al, after almost half an hour played. A very stuffy game. The teams formation wise matching like for like, 3-5-2, and as I say, very stuffy so far. A couple of half chances for each side. Blair Spiddle with a shot from 20 yards when Motherwell was deflected wide. Just prior to that, Dylan Levitt again from 25 yards, an effort that was right off the right hand post of Liam Kelly. Yeah, but no real opportunities for the strikers so far. It's 0-0 here at Fir Park.
Thanks, Brian. You rejoin us just as Lawrence Shankland finds himself in the referee's notebook for a little pull back there as David Watson tried to pick up a loose ball in the middle of the park. First yellow card of the game, and it goes the way of the Hearts captain, and that means Kilmarnock have a free kick. It's just inside the centre circle, but it's another opportunity to throw several of their taller players forward. Dees, Finlay, Ndaba, and Mayo's hung back, but the rest of them are up there. And it'll be Matty Kennedy just inside the centre circle on the half hour mark to loft it into the penalty area. Haring's favourite to win it, and indeed he does. Watson though gets his head to the second ball, and Ndaba nods it back to him, left hand side. Watson back to Kennedy. Kennedy will go back to Mayo, who's the last Killy man, who plays it all the way back, taking absolutely no chances there, and plays it back to his goalkeeper, who knocks it long, looking for McGuinness to win it, but Kent commanding in the air. Watkins slides in, wins the ball ahead of Lowry. Hearts fans didn't like it, but he won it cleanly, reckoned the referee, as Lowry battles away to win it back, go off Watkins, and now Kingsley back to Rills inside his own penalty area. Half an hour gone, very evenly matched game so far. Hearts 0, Kilmarnock 0, and Armstrong can't keep it in on this near side. And the Hearts fans, I think, letting David Dickinson know that they reckon that should have been
nothing
a free kick.
Fair challenge. Nothing in that.
Throwing two Hearts then midway inside their own half to be taken by Kingsley. Both goalkeepers, virtual spectators in the opening half hour or so. As Armstrong wins it back for Kilmarnock, but not for long. Kingsley plays it off him though, and it will spin back to the edge of the Hearts penalty area, where Xander Clark just comes out and then rolls it left-footed back into his penalty area, all in fluorescent yellow. Xander Clark today, as he looks for options up the park. And the Hearts fans, you can possibly hear in the background, just sound a little bit restless, more restless with the way the first half has gone. As Shankland though tries to make some headway down the left-hand side, can't get the better of Armstrong. Was he being tugged? Again, the Hearts fans are looking for a free kick, so too is Lawrence Shankland. David Dickinson saw nothing wrong, and play continues with Hearts back in possession just inside their own half.
No, I don't think there was anything in it. I think Lawrence just miscontrolled the balls. He tried to get past. I think he's just get control of it and play behind him. His body's behind it.
There's another misplaced pass there from Kingsley, but back comes Oda to intercept the pass forward from Kelly. And Hearts have it through Atkinson just inside his own half, and then back to Kent. Kilmarnock extremely well organised off the ball at this stage, really difficult to break down, but here's Oda looking to try and pose them a few problems down the right hand side. Now it's Atkinson coming in off the right, gets the ball back from Shankland, then pokes it to Lowry. Lowry tries to lift it into the path of Shankland, but it passes off. But again, it's good work from Oda. He's done really well. He's won it back, plays it to Shankland, angle of the box, left hand side. Can he find the pass from Devlin? It's just held up slightly by Shankland there. Back though with Haring, who'll go for goal from distance, and it's not too far wide as Will Dennis threw himself to his right, and it's a yard or so past his right hand post as it remains Hearts 0, Kilmarnock 0.
First real effort from Hearts. It goes wide of the target. When the ball squared initially, it's played to Devlin, you think, oh, he's not going to hit it because he's not a prolific scorer. Then it goes to Haring, who again isn't a prolific scorer from midfield, but it's a decent enough effort. But then it's goes wide of the target.
I'll be honest though, Alan, if Haring's getting the ball 30 yards for goal and hitting a shot, I don't think Kilmarnock keeper's overly worried with his record and that. I think Shankland getting it where he did and then playing it, I think he could have played a better ball to Devlin to go and maybe have a strike, but I think he hit it too far across him. So Kilmarnock done their job defensively. If they're limiting a shot for 30 yards, which, don't get me wrong, I don't want a kiss of death and he puts one in the top bin, but his stats shows that he doesn't do it that often.
Still goalless then with about 11 minutes to go until the interval. And both sides are still very evenly matched in these opening 34 minutes now of the game, as Finlay just hooks the ball over his head and up towards the halfway line. Haring wins the header on the halfway line. Dees though takes a touch, plays it forward, can't find a Kelly teammate, but I must say that Dees, having made the step up from the Championship, looks very much at home at this level. Alan, he's a good defender. He proved that with him against Cali Thistle, and he's doing well for Kilmarnock thus far.
Do you know what he's done, Alistair? He didn't stay at Celtic at 18 years of age. He wanted out. He went to Cowdenbeath in League 2, then he stepped up to Alloa, then to Inverness, and now he finds himself in the Premier League with Kilmarnock and got 160 games under his belt. So he's done it the right way.
Yeah, it's worked out well for him. And Kilmarnock certainly limiting Hearts to very few chances so far, and posing a bit of a threat in the counter, but it breaks the way of Shankland now left hand side. You get a couple of players round him though. Support arrives in the shape of Stephen Kingsley, left hand side for Hearts up towards the edge of the penalty area. Left hand side sliding challenge again, that looked to come off Kingsley, but this time David Dickinson points for the corner. Lyons slid in, looked to me like it might have come off Kingsley last, but David Dickinson much closer to the play than I am, and he awards the corner kick from this left hand side for Hearts with 10 minutes to go until the break. Hearts looking for a breakthrough. Lowry to take the corner from the left, right footed.
That's good delivery normally, Lowry, but last week at St Johnstone he kept hitting the first post, front man.
Looks for that dangerous ball, and it's all the way across goal and behind. Somehow it takes absolutely no. It actually did take a touch off a Kilmarnock player according to the referee, because he points for a corner kick on the far side, but it looked to go almost all the way across didn't really get more than a yard or two away from the goal line, as it was missed by absolutely everyone, it appeared. But perhaps there was a Kilmarnock touch on it, if the referee is to be believed, and it's a corner kick in the far side. But that was a good delivery. No end product though for Hearts. 9 minutes till the break, still 0-0. There
we go.
As Hearts player Peter Haring hits the deck before the corner can be taken, and the referee just wants
Ndaba grabs him, and Haring's shirt is almost off his back.
It's McGuinness who's been spoken to certainly, but Ndaba's just picking himself up off the ground as well. And David Dickinson and Greg Aitken in the VAR room will be keeping a close eye on things as the ball eventually comes in, as Lowry prepares to deliver from the right hand side this time. Back post ball, it's headed away by Dees, and Kilmarnock looking to counter. Dees right up with Armstrong on the counter. Armstrong, can he find a switch for Kennedy? It's a good ball. Kennedy angle the box from the left hand side. Kilmarnock got plenty of players forward. Back goes Shankland to try and stop the cross coming in. He's held him up well. Applauded by the Hearts fans who recognise the danger there, but still Kilmarnock have it. It's Mayo right hand side, fires in the diagonal, almost comes to Kennedy, but it was Atkinson that time getting a crucial header in. It's picked up by Oda right hand side for Hearts, just feeds it forward rather hopefully, and Dees is back there now and hoists it clear for the visitors up towards Watkins. Kent gets there ahead of him and then nodded back by Haring to Xander Clark. The Hearts fans urging their team on, looking for an opener before the half-time whistle, which is about 6.5 minutes away. Still 0-0. Here's Lowry midway inside the Kelly half, reverse pass for Shankland, tries the back heel, but it was read well by Finlay. Just stood up and didn't commit himself. Armstrong looking for a free kick, but it falls kindly for Watkins in the halfway, and Kelly on the break once more. Left hand side, Kennedy running at Watkins, takes the shot on. Xander Clark throws himself to his right, got a glove to it, and it'll be a Kelly corner.
It's a wee bit of basketball at the minute, end to end, without well, to be fair, Kennedy gets a shot away there, but it's a wee bit too open probably for Hearts' liking, which is playing into Kilmarnock. They're getting the counter, they're winning it back and pressing up there, but they're not overcommitting, as we said, so they're getting bodies back and behind the ball and managing to win it. But they've got runners, as I keep talking about. They've got runners, they've got energy in the team, and probably Hearts are finding that the lack of the League Cup games, Alan, is in that pace of the game. They're struggling to maintain their high press.
I get they're trying to help the teams in Europe, but it hinders them at the start of the season. It always does. They don't play enough games.
Armstrong's corner, left hand side, fired in left footed, headed away at the edge of the area by Haring. No Hearts players up there to collect though, and it'll be returned by Mayo. Big switch of play out to Armstrong. It's a brilliant ball. First touch from Armstrong, tries to play it beyond Oda, but Oda had read it and was quick enough to turn and spins away from Armstrong and clears it. And it's good play defensively, but it's a rather aimless ball forward, and Dees just returns it, and Watkins will get onto it. And it's kicked in by Kennedy, and then Armstrong picks up left hand side for Kilmarnock. Devlin battling away to win it, but Kilmarnock also scrapping away, and they have it back. It's McGuinness. It's a foul there by Devlin. He is, and David Dickinson didn't like the challenge. Devlin points to a previous challenge from a Kilmarnock player that he didn't like, but the referee's not interested, as he issued Devlin with the yellow and gives Kilmarnock a free kick not too far outside the Hearts penalty area. Still 0-0 with 5 minutes left to go before the half-time whistle sounds.
His reputation gets some yellow cards, Devlin. Yeah, he's harshly treated. I think there might have been a foul on the far side, but then he flies into a tackle, and you can't, if the referee's not going to blow, you can't just do that. You know, it probably feels harshly done, but yet another yellow card.
Yeah, he's accumulated a few of those in his time in a maroon jersey. Cam Devlin, I don't think anyone would want to take his tenacity out of his style of play, but a couple of
there's tenacity, and then there's taking the law into your own hands, and that's what he's done. He feels aggrieved. I'll just dive in and make it because I feel aggrieved. That's not tenacity. That's just being stupid in my eyes, and it could cost him here.
Could do. About 30 yards out. Kennedy left the centre, lining one up, right footed, goes for goal, takes a deflection on its way through. Corner kick to Kilmarnock. Could have been worse. And the wall doing its job to just take it wide, as Hearts have a bit more defending to do to ensure at worst they go in goalless at half time. But Kilmarnock very much in this game, very much in the contest. It's been evenly matched, as we've said a few times, And here's Armstrong from the left-hand side once more to send it into the 6-yard box. Up goes Ndaba. Might have got a slight glance in that, but not much more as it comes all the way out to Watson, right-hand side. He swings it back in. It's a good-looking ball. Dees gets his head to it, and it's going to just drift wide of goal in the end, as Zander Clark watched pretty comfortably, it seemed, content that it was going to drift wide. But Kilmarnock have had chances in this first period, but it does remain Kilmarnock 0, Hearts 0.
Yeah, certainly in the opening 41 minutes, Alistair have had the better of the chances, you know, and you look at them going forward, they look energetic, you know, they've got pace in the wider areas with Kennedy and Armstrong. Set plays as well, they're a threat, we can see that there, that header just drifts wide of the target. Now, Hearts have got the work cut out. We can see there's a great venue for Kilmarnock to come and play, and it seems to be the case. I think Derek McInnes' side have played very well in this opening half.
And they've drawn 1 and won 6 of their last 8 visits to Tynecastle. Kilmarnock, I'm not sure anyone will have a better record than that, maybe Celtic if you're lucky, but beyond that, it's an incredible record. But they're enjoying themselves this afternoon as well, but haven't been able to find a goal, nor of Hearts. And so with 3 minutes left in the first period, we still await the first goal, as we do at Firth Park as well, between Motherwell and Hibs. Remember, Celtic winning 3-1 earlier on up at Pittodrie. Very impressive victory for Brendan Rodgers' side as they look to claim a 3rd successive title. Here come Kilmarnock. Left-hand side, it's Kennedy, whips it in, glanced on by McGuinness. Good save from Zander Clark. That's the best effort of the game. Clark down to his near post from the right-hand side to turn it behind. That might well have crept in.
That's a great save, but it's great build-up play, and I think 42 minutes into the game, the confidence that Kilmarnock plays, you can see them all growing. They're all getting bigger as the game goes on, and that happens when you're playing well and you're creating chances. And they've got confidence. They've quietened the home crowd. It's very quiet. There's very little noise coming from the Hearts, and that gives the Kilmarnock players the impetus to go and play. And great save there.
Matty Kennedy, left-hand side, right-footed, swings it into the 6-yard box. Clark gets a good fist at that time, and he was being impeded, reckons the referee, and it will be a free kick to Hearts with just a couple of minutes left in this first period. But yeah, that does go down as a good save from Zander Clark, Alan, to keep out McGuinness' effort.
Yeah, brilliant save. Good play by Kilmarnock again. Good hit by McGuinness, and a great save by Zander, diving to his right-hand side, knocking it away for a corner.
You'll see the highlights of this game and the other 2 from today, as well as the best of yesterday's action on Sports Scene tonight, 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel, and again at 11:30 on BBC One. No goals, as I mentioned, from this game or the one at Firth Park as yet.
I think with that McGuinness, but that McGuinness effort, all the pace is on the cross. When it comes in, it's whipped in at pace. Really good ball in. He just gets the slightest of glances on it. It's a really good save.
And Shankland, who's already on a yellow, just has another foul there in the middle of the park. I don't think by any measure it would have been a second yellow.
4th official.
Yeah, I mean, you can understand Kilmarnock claiming, but I don't think that's a second yellow in anyone's book. But
it probably isn't, Alistair, but if he hadn't been booked, it's probably getting a booking.
You think?
Yeah, because he's frustrated. He keeps giving the ball away, the ball keeps bouncing off him. You can just see frustration, and to be fair, I think it's his 3rd or 4th foul, so if it hadn't been booked, he would have got booked for that one. So it'd have been a soft second yellow, but you can't just keep giving fouls away because you're frustrated within the game.
But one thing you would probably say is that he's not getting many more.
No, definitely not, because they're silly ones, and they're eye-catching in front of the referee. It's not getting a wee niggle or a pull, he's actually taking people out.
Shankland trying to help the ball on for Lowry. Gets it back to Shankland, but in steps Ndaba on the edge of the Kilmarnock area. Hearts looking to press for the opener just in the cusp of half-time. We're into stoppage time, of which there's 1 minute at the end of this first half. Hearts have a throw-in on the left-hand side, midway inside the Kilmarnock half. Kilmarnock have defended stoutly when they've had to, and they've had their opportunities on the break. And certainly Zander Clark has had to be called into action a couple of times, most obviously for that Kyle McGuinness flashing header just a few moments ago. But here's Atkinson at the other end, plays it square just beyond Devlin, but it'll be picked up by Lowry, left hand side, whips it in. Oh, Shankland has been dragged to the ground there, was he, by Stuart Findlay? Well, that's his claim, and the Hearts fans are on their feet claiming for a penalty. David Dickinson just moves away as it's picked up by Will Dennis. That looked like a decent shout.
Yeah, it'll be looked at. That's the thing, it will certainly be looked at. That's the good thing about the game now. It looked as you said, a decent shout. The referee's looking right at it, doesn't really see enough in it, but that'll be checked.
Well, Stuart Findlay had his arms round Lawrence Shanklin, maybe just let him go in good enough time as Tagawa tries the shot from the edge of the box after the layoff from Shanklin. Alan's right, it will of course be looked at by Greg Aitken, who's in the VAR room this afternoon, but I suspect that that's not going to be one that will be overturned. The on-field decision was no penalty, and I'm not sure there'll be enough in it necessarily for that to be deemed a clear and obvious error, but it was certainly worth a claim as the half-time whistle goes and the boos are for David Dickinson, the referee, because the Hearts fans reckon that right on the stroke of half-time they should have had a penalty as Stuart Findlay grappled with Lawrence Shanklin inside the box, but nothing was given, and that means at half-time, with few chances it has to be said, in a very well contested and competitive first half, Xander Clark with the best save of the opening period, saving from a Kyle McGuinness glancing header just a couple of minutes before the interval. But that was really that for goalmouth action. Very even game so far at Tynecastle. At half time, it's Hearts 0, Kilmarnock 0.
On digital radio,
FM,
online at BBC Sports Scotland,
your smart speaker,
and on BBC Sounds.
This is Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
Off the top in! What a strike! What a goal!
Well, right now you're listening to Sports Sound with me, Richard Gordon, having done the early part of the programme from Pittodrie, where Celtic beat Aberdeen by 3-1. Hot-footed it up to the Aberdeen studio. Listening in to the guys there, great commentary from Tynecastle, goalless it is. Hearts against Kilmarnock. We'll chat more with them in just a moment or two, and we will incidentally get to hear from the two managers in the wake of that game at Pittodrie. There was a slight issue earlier on getting those interviews to you, so we'll hear from Brendan Rodgers and Paddy Robson shortly. Let's hear first from Brian McLaughlin. He's at the other Premiership match this afternoon at Fir Park, Motherwell against Hibernian.
Yes, Richard, it's Motherwell 0, Hibernian 0, a case of 45 minutes where both teams really cancelled each other out, playing in the very similar formations, 3-5-2. However, the home side, you'd have to say, finished the half much the better. Blair Spittle came close midway through the half with a shot that was deflected wide, and then just 5 minutes before the break, Richard, a VAR check after Slattery had gone down inside the box after a challenge by Miller. It looked to be not too much in it, and that was also the decision of the video referee Chris Graham. But seconds later, the best chance of the game came for the home side. Suarez with a cross into the box, Dan Casey with a brilliant header that came off the apex of bar and post. Bear followed up with a rebound that was just wide of the goal, but that's been the best chance of the game so far for Hibernian. It's been a little light, to be fair, up front. Dylan Levitt with a shot from 25 yards after just 4 minutes. That's been the only real attempt at goal by Hibernian in the first half. Don't be too surprised if we see the likes of Martin Boyle in the second half. However, half time here at Fir Park, it's Motherwell 0, Hibernian 0.
I just fear that we cursed these matches in the build-up, just chatting about the fact that they're generally very entertaining, certainly usually plenty goals, Motherwell Hibernian, and I can think of a few games between Hearts and Killie that have also been pretty goal-laden as well. But 0-0 it is at Fir Park, 0-0 at Tynecastle. Alan, there seemed to be a big shout just towards the end of the half there. I can't help you out because where I am I can't get access to the games, but it sounded as if the Hearts fans certainly were calling for it. Lawrence Shanklin calling for the penalty right at the stroke of half time.
Yeah, it seemed Findlay had his arms round him. I'm not so sure there's enough in it, Richard. Shanklin's backing in and Findlay's maybe just being strong. He certainly had his arms round him. Whether or not it's a penalty, but clearly it's not. Greg Aitken in the VAR studio said no, it's not. And Hearts they've not been great. They've done all right, I would say. Not created anything at all to cause concern. I think the Kilmarnock defence has been very, very well organised. Shanklin going into that pocket at the start of the game, but Deasy's the one that's been going into midfield to pick him up. They've all played well, Kilmarnock really have. They've been the better side. Real power and pace in the wider areas with Armstrong and Kennedy and McGuinness having that shot just before just before half time that Xander Clark turned away for a corner. It's been alright, the game's been okay without being brilliant. Kilmarnock certainly had the better of it, in my opinion. More chances, just look better. And although they look as if they're a counter-attacking team, they like Hearts to come down on top of them. Then they can break with pace in the wider areas and flood men forward. Hearts need to do better. It's just not simply been good enough. They've created virtually nothing.
So Kilmarnock, Gary, just almost picked up where they left off last week against Rangers.
They have indeed, and probably a wee bit more of an attacking threat when the Hearts have kind of overcommitted. It's been a really enjoyable game for me, sitting watching it, and there's a wee bit of edge to it, and the crowd's involved. I think the way Kilmarnock's playing, and I said to Alistair, Kilmarnock players are growing minute by minute. The more that they're getting a success of winning the ball back and breaking, Hearts look a wee bit leggy, if I'm being honest, and I touched on it. I think the lack of competitive games is shown, whereas Kilmarnock have just had a really tough game last Saturday, because you know you've got to work really hard against the Old Firm no matter what, in possession, out possession, and that stands them good stead, and the players are growing in stature minute by minute, and it's been really entertaining without a lot of goalmouth action. There's been a lot of good 50-50 challenges at times. There's a wee bit of frustration for the Hearts players like Cammy Devlin getting booked and Shankland getting booked as well, so it's been entertaining to watch. But probably Derek will be ruining the chances they had, the breakaways they had. They should have made more of them. They didn't watch Xander Clark enough until McGuinness's header, which was a great header from a great cross, but they've had better chances on the break to open Hearts up and get more shots on target.
Right, goalless it is, half-time, Hearts Kilmarnock. More to come from Gary and from Alan, and indeed from Al Lamont, our commentator, and we'll keep you right across Motherwell against Hibernian. We've heard from both managers there, Brendan Rodgers, Barry Robson, the 3-1 win for Celtic. Remember, goalless at half-time at Fir Park. We'll keep you right across that one with Brian. It's Motherwell 0, Hibernian 0, and it's the same scoreline at Tynecastle. Hearts against Kilmarnock. Live second half commentary with Alan Preston, Gary Holt and Al Lamont.
Thanks again, Richard. Yeah, the team's back out on the park, and doesn't appear that there are going to be changes for either side at the interval. So we start this one goalless. As Richard mentioned there, you got a chance to have a look back at the Lawrence Shankland claim for a penalty just in the stroke of half-time, as did myself and Gary. I have to say, Gary, that although Richard said there was nothing in it, it strikes me as one that if you are the attacking team, you're definitely claiming for it.
It's one of those, Alistair, if it's given, you're probably saying it's soft, but you're actually questioning your defender why he's got his arms round him after the game, and looking back at the videos, but then again you're also saying it is a wee bit soft. So I think Kilmarnock are lucky to get away with it, and lucky VAR never had a look at it, but I do say it would have been soft.
What do you do with that, Alistair? He blows for half time, but there's still a decision to be made, and the players are running off.
Yeah, they would bring them back on. Here's Matty Kennedy from the edge of the box, goes for goal, taken comfortably by Xander Clark in the first attempt on goal of the first period. Comes from the visitors. It's still 0-0, but yeah, Alan, just to answer your question, I've not seen it in the flesh, but I'm sure that there was an instant where the full-time whistle was blown at one stage in a game somewhere, and the players had to be brought back onto the park, and the game was restarted for whatever incident it was. So that would have happened had the VAR, and they would have looked at it, to be fair, just to get the kind of language
not an
around
incident
it.
last season at St Mirren where there was something in the last minute it wasn't checked.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
One of the two.
Anyhow, the Greg Aitken, who is the VAR today, would have checked that, and would have, as I mentioned at the time, didn't look to me that even if it was a penalty, it would be one that was clear and obvious mistake, and as it is, wasn't given. We've got no goals here right at the start of the second half.
See that thing also about clear and obvious area? I think if the referee actually gave a penalty, I don't think he would have overturned it.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about it, that it could have gone either way. But here come Hearts down the left hand side, looking to try and make the breakthrough. It's Alec Lowry about 15 yards from the touchline. He's earned himself a free kick, just bars in the back there by Danny Armstrong as he came back to try and do some of the defensive duties that you were saying in the first half, Gary, probably doesn't really want to be doing, and that was a little bit rash from him, I felt.
Yeah, and that's the areas that opposition teams should try and get him in, and he does that quite a bit. Danny gives away silly free kicks. I think he gets sent off last year against Rangers at home by being over enthusiastic, shall we say, and getting involved. It's an area you don't want involved in, and it's shown there, a stupid foul,
which Alex Lowry will take the free kick from. left hand side, just a few yards away from the goal line. It's a dangerous looking one. Will Dennis at the second attempt grabs hold of that and alleviates the danger on his goal. 2.5 minutes of the second half played, and it's still goalless. The guys will keep an eye on any potential tactical tweaks from either manager at the break as Hearts feed the ball forward. Tagawa hasn't been able to get into the game. Stuart Finlay possibly handled that as it was played forward. The assistant referee was right next to it, and certainly the Hearts fans round about us again.
Kicks it off his own hand, Alice. It's not a foul. Doesn't mean that.
Ball's played forward by Kingsley, but that's an aimless one behind for a goal kick to Kilmarnock, and the Hearts fans just looking for a little bit more from their side in an attacking sense. As I say, Tagawa was unable to get into the game in that first period, and I wonder how long it will be before we see Kenneth Vargas, who I was chatting to Joe Savage out in Trondheim about him. He's described him as more of a left-sided inside forward, but the Costa Rican international coming in and adds another option for Hearts, and we might see him off the bench as the ball's knocked forward and it falls for Matty Kennedy down the left hand side for Kelly, up against Atkinson. Atkinson just gets a toe in, and then Oda plays it back to Devlin. Haring fouled by Watson in the middle of the park, says referee David Dickinson. Didn't look to be all that much in that, but Hearts do get the free kick 4 minutes into the second period. Hearts 0, Kilmarnock 0. Here's Frankie Kent, one of Hearts' summer signings, brought in from Peterborough. Looks a pretty decent acquisition. Craig Halkett, of course, still to come back. Don't think he's too far away from a return to the first team either, after a terrible season with injuries last time out. But another player like Boyce and Beningame and Craig Gordon, when he returns, he'll be like a cliched new signing for Hearts when he does re-emerge. Here is Kent at the edge of his penalty area. Looks forward and then fires it out to the right hand side looking for Oda, but it's a misplaced pass from Oda, and Hearts maybe just need to simplify the game a little bit. A couple of rather adventurous passes, over adventurous almost.
I think he's looking for Shanklin and Kagawa to chauffeur the ball. Both of them are running away from it.
Hearts have the throw in on the right hand side, quickly taken by Oda. Neat touch back to Devlin from Shanklin, and then back to the halfway line for Kent for Rowles, and now back with Kent on the halfway line and allowed to step forward, plays it into Shanklin. Shanklin holding off young David Watson in the middle of the park. Kent once more to Devlin. Right hand side is Oda. Atkinson now comes in off the right hand side, looks forward and plays the pass square to Haring, who swiftly knocks it out to Lowry on the left flank, up against Lyons and also Armstrong. Tries to play it between the two of them, comes off Lyons and out for a throw in on the far side. Two Hearts about 15 yards away from the corner flag on the Hearts left. Kingsley will take this throw in. Played 6 minutes of the second period, no goals at Fir Park between Motherwell and Hibs. As the ball's back with Royals, and now his fellow Australian Devlin looks to clip that over the top, looking for the run of Atkinson beaten to just by Will Dennis, who made a brave decision to come off his line, but he did well to just get enough on that to knock the danger away, and Kilmarnock survived. Not Atkinson scored a marvellous goal at Rugby Park in the final minute last season. A really spectacular effort it was as Hearts come forward once more. Oda's pass for Shanklin though is cut out by the excellent D's. Now it's Ndaba on the left hand side, plays it forward for Kennedy, who goes down pretty easily, but he is given the free kick by David Dickinson. It will be Kelly's free kick just a few yards inside the Hearts half. Hearts 0, Kilmarnock 0.
I think hearts and mouth there when they see the keeper come flying out, but he's made the decision. He has got on the end of it, but it's one of those as a coach manager thinking you want your keeper coming to help, but sometimes in the wrong areas, and I think that was one. He'll look back and think, but he got there, he got on the end of it, and he did his job very well.
So Kelly free kick just about 10 yards inside the Hearts half, 10 yards in off the left flank, as well as Armstrong sends it in, back post delivery. And it's headed out of play by Rowles over on the far side for a Kilmarnock throw-in. And cross trots Ian Watson for another long throw-in, as Alan mentioned in the first half. It was this kind of area he launched one for the only goal of the game last weekend, as John Suter, the former Hearts centre-back, struggled to clear his lines, and in stepped Brad Lyons to sweep in the winning goal against Rangers. In this one comes Finlay trying to help it on, but Hearts deal with it, and Lowry clears his lines up towards the halfway line. Mayo gets his head to it. Armstrong tried to let the ball run across him, but Oda's nicked it from him, then can't quite find the pass, and in slides Dees to make sure that Hearts couldn't keep possession. 8 minutes into the second half, still no sign of a goal.
You just wonder if you're Derek McInnes, you're happy the way things are going. If you're Frank McAvoy, you look at your bench, I think, did you bring Boyce on? Is he something different for you?
Kennedy goes down just at the edge of the box, but there was nothing in that, and nothing given as a result. And Hearts able to clear as Shanklin gives chase, but Dees will get there before him and just knocks it back to his goalkeeper Will Dennis, who's yet to concede in the Premiership. Hearts play the ball forward quickly, but Tagawa's never getting on the end of that, and again Dennis is first to it. Bowls it out underarm for Finlay, who won a Scotland call-up with his performances at Kilmarnock last time he was here, and looking to impress again on loan from Oxford United. A miscue there from Frankie Kent as he tries to deal with a through ball, and it's out of play for a Kilmarnock throw-in on the left-hand side. And Hearts, who were vastly improved in the second half against Rosenborg, haven't really lifted their performance so far in this game since half time, as Kennedy comes down the left hand side and he's taken out by Atkinson. It will be a clear booking as Atkinson with a despairing challenge there as Kennedy went past him down the left hand side.
It's great play by Kennedy again, just committing his man, but you're also looking at Hearts and thinking the bench needs to have an impact like it did in the last couple of games for them, because they do look leggy. I know I'm touching on it again, but they do look as if not enough competitive games is catching up with them, and they need to change it, because it's a wee bit pedestrian, I think, Alan, for me. There's no pace about them, and they look a wee bit disjointed up the front with Shanklin and Tagawa. Who runs, who drops, and they're not really having any end product up there.
And they've got defending to do here to keep the scoreline blank, as Kennedy and Armstrong stand over the free kick left hand side, a few yards outside the penalty area. It's Haring who gets his head to it, comes to Watson on the right hand side, just sends it back in. Dees is up there, going to attack it. He leaves it for Armstrong, who miscues the header and plays it wide of goal, when he really should have at least tested Xander Clark. Maybe it was just thought Robbie Dees was going to take the header on, but clearly Armstrong shouted, got the header in, but it doesn't test the keeper, and it remains Hearts 0, Kilmarnock 0.
Yeah, Hearts have got to change the flow of the game. Kilmarnock have been the better side. Again at the start of the second half, another effort there. I think you would get Tagawa off and bring Boyce on.
It looks like Boyce is just taking his subs jacket off there, Alan, to be honest, so change is imminent.
Yeah, it's Kilmarnock who look the marginally better side just at the moment. Not a great deal between the sides certainly, but they've had the better opportunities, and that last one from Danny Armstrong was should at least have got on target, Gary.
The wrong guy it fell to.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're trying to say, Alistair, but he should be heading it across goal to make the goalie work.
Yeah, I just wonder, Robbie Dees obviously did get the shout, maybe he couldn't have reached it anyway, that's the thing, but you would definitely want him on the end of that type of effort rather than Danny Armstrong, but nonetheless Armstrong should have been working the keeper. We've played 11 and a half minutes of the second period, and as the guys are saying, Liam Boyce is about to enter the fray for Hearts. I wouldn't be too surprised if it was. Kyosuke Tagawa, who made way, hasn't really been able to impact the game, as Watson hurls in another long throw. Finlay gets on the end of it, up in the air it goes, off the head now of Kennedy, and now Indaba inside the penalty area, left hand side, just forced out of the box, just plays a little clip ball into the feet of Kennedy, who's tracked by Oda, does enough to make it difficult for him, still gets the ball into the box again, but it's swept away by Shanklin, and Mayo just touched that back to Will Dennis in the Kilmarnock penalty box. and the keeper then launches it long again over the halfway line. Watkins and Kent tussling. It goes over the two of them, and Rowles nods it back to Zander Clark as Boyce awaits the ball going dead, and then he'll be brought on to add his goal scoring threat and technical nous to the game. Another man who's had a bad time with injury of late, but back to full fitness, and Hearts will hope he can make a positive impact coming off the bench as the ball goes back to Zander Clark from Kent inside his 6-yard box. 13 minutes gone in this second period. Still no goals at Fir Park either between Motherwell and Hibs. Will get an update from Brian McLaughlin, a reporter there at some juncture. Here's Stephen Kingsley, the left back on the halfway line for Hearts, plays it back infield to Rowles. Remember, Hearts back in action here against Rosenborg in the second leg of their Europa Conference League third round qualifier, looking to overturn a 2-1 advantage. Now, I have to say they'll have to be better than this to do so. Here's Oda, right hand side for Hearts, looking to inject a bit of pace, but Atkinson's attempt at the 1-2 was pretty woeful, it has to be said, behind for a goal kick. And it's Lowry who's coming off actually. I mean, he's been relatively quiet, Alan, but you're surprised it's him who departs?
Yeah, I am. You know what, he's been alright, he's been okay, he's better than he's shown. He was very good last week when he came on. Today I'm not so good, but he's been alright. He's a top talented young player. So what they're going to do is Boyce will go and play up now, Tagawa will go and play on the left hand side, and they'll virtually play 3 up front now, Hearts.
Yeah, Shankland's going pretty high as well, isn't he? And so a little reshuffle there from the Hearts management team as Will Dennis prepares to take the goal kick. Kilmarnock going from right to left as we look at it from the back of the Wheatfield stand, which is the one opposite the main stand here at Gorgate. Excellent commentary position, you have to say, really good vantage point. You see how the game plays out down beneath us as Ndaba takes a chance, gets away with it, and then Devlin flies in. It's played off Devlin, and it will be a Kilmarnock throw-in. I mean, the Hearts fans not happy, but it's
so plain, and it's right in front of us. It comes right off Devlin, right out.
An hour gone, still no goals. But Kilmarnock probably, you would have to say, just edging it slightly. And here's Boyce though. First chance he's had to do anything since he's coming on. Found Shankland at the edge of the box, just tries to clip it through there for Tagawa coming in off the left, but couldn't quite link up as Stephen Kingsley was trying to pick himself up off the ground there and then clashed with Armstrong and he's hurt himself again. And David Dickinson, the referee, just checking he's okay. Let's cross to Fir Park then on the hour mark here at Tynecastle. Everything's going between Motherwell and Hibs. Brian McLaughlin.
Yeah, an hour gone, still 0-0 here. Motherwell have a corner, but it's easily collected by David Marshall. Motherwell have had a couple of really good opportunities, so O'Donnell with the ball into the box. Connor Wilkinson was there. He looked as if he had a clear shot at goal, decided to take an extra touch though, and that allowed the Hibs defence to come back and clear the ball. Spiddle also sent through 1-1 with the goalkeeper, took it early but shot wide off the target. Hibs made a couple of changes. Levitt and Vente replaced at half time. Martin Boyle and Adam Lefondre have come on, and Motherwell have also made a change. Theo Bair's made way with Mika Bereth, the 20-year-old Dane on loan from Arsenal, on. I can tell you he's a big imposing figure, and the Hibs defenders are in for a handful for the last half hour. However, Fir Park here with an hour played. Motherwell 0, Hibs 0.
Thanks, Brian. We'll be back with you if anything eventful happens before full time. Nothing eventful happened here since you last heard from us, as Stephen Kingsley is back on his feet. Doesn't look entirely comfortable. He's just had a bit of treatment and just trying to walk off the knock he took there. It will be a Hearts throw-in over on the far side, just at the mouth of the tunnel, for those who know the layout here at Tynecastle Park. And it will be taken by Peter Haring in the absence for the moment of the left back Stephen Kingsley. Down the left it goes. Devlin heads it forward. It's Boyce trying to make a nuisance of himself. Kennedy there though to win it for Kilmarnock. Then McGuinness wins the 50-50 with Haring, but it breaks for Rowles, and Rowles plays it to Boyce. Boyce just tries to nudge it through to Tagawa, but Kilmarnock step in and it's won by Mayo for McGuinness. former Hibby, of course. Didn't really happen for him at Easter Road. Again, another player who's had a hellish time with injuries in recent times as Ndaba and Boyce come together. Sore one there from Ndaba, but it was a fair challenge, and Shanklin picks up on the halfway line and plays it to Atkinson. Again coming in off the right hand side, the Australian. Central area now, plays it back for Rowles. Let go by Tagawa. Boyce links up with him. Tagawa can't keep it though, and Kennedy will chase that onto the halfway line, left hand side. Back comes Devlin. Kennedy, little step over, in off the left he comes. Still Kennedy going, about 30 yards from goal. Plays it for Armstrong, right hand side into Kennedy once more. Just tries to lift it back into the path of Armstrong. It was an ambitious one, and Kingsley able to clear up to Shanklin. Shanklin grappling away there with Mayo. Mayo still battling. Haring comes in. Shanklin picks up possession, then tries the big switch to Oda. Oda, I can't take a good first touch. Is really poor from the Japanese. A great ball from Shanklin, and Oda really needed to take that in his stride, Alan Preston, but took his eye off it, I think, and it comes out for a throw into Kilmarnock. Still 0-0.
Yeah, it's a great ball from Shanklin, 40-50 yards from his left foot right to Oda's foot, and he just miscontrols it, and I think that just sums Hearts' display up today. You know, not a miss pass in that chance, but certainly miscontrol. It's just not been there. And you're right, Alistair, if they're going to play like this on Thursday, they'll go out. They need to get the intensity up. They need to, because as it sits, you know, Kilmarnock, it's quite comfortable for them. They're in their shape. They're holding their shape. They're hitting Hearts on the break. They've got problems in the wider area for Hearts. You know, I think Kilmarnock will be very happy. And the way the game's going, you would think that Derek McInnes might be a bit raging if he don't win this game.
Haring fouling Lyons there on this left hand side. Kilmarnock players looking for another yellow card there for Haring.
No, I think it was Atkinson threw the ball away.
Right.
And under the new rules, they're just meant to leave it and walk away.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So he's a lucky boy, because the referee was actually looking this way when he actually threw it away off the part. So
yeah, and Atkinson's been booked. That's probably the issue there. But no further action taken against Nat Atkinson, but it will be a free kick to Kilmarnock. Midway inside the Hearts half, left hand side. Armstrong sends it into the penalty. They headed on by Lyons towards the back post, but no Kelly players there, and Kingsley gets time. It's a poor clearance, only as far as Dees, but Finlay can't get it back to him. Dees does really well there, comes back to Finlay. Oh, so close to an absolute barnstorming finish from Stuart Finlay. He can't believe that hasn't found the target. I thought that was top corner bound, but just past Zander Clark's left hand post, and it remains Hearts 0, Kilmarnock 0.
I'm actually thinking if Stuart Finlay doesn't shoot, Shanklin's in trouble there, because that looked a booking to me, Alan. I think he could have been off
completely. He wipes out Robbie Dees at the edge of the box. The referee plays advantage and saves Shanklin. You're right, you know. And then what a hit that was for Finlay. I honestly thought it was whistling in. I thought it was flying in that top corner. That must be so close.
He's got a habit of scoring here as well.
Hearts have a free kick, and there's some ironic, I think, cheers from the Hearts fans who probably feel that David Dickinson has been rather harsh on them. There's been a goal for Park. Let's cross quickly to Brian before this free kick's taken.
It's a goal for Motherwell coming after 63 minutes. Blair Spittle with the finish, but it was made by the man I'd just spoken about, Mika Bereth. He bullied Lewis Stevenson down the right hand side, cut the ball back into the path of Blair Spittle, who knocked the ball into the back of the empty net. 65 minutes is now played here at Fir Park. It's Motherwell 0, Motherwell 1, Hibernian 0.
Thanks, Brian. There's a yellow card being shown here to Danny Armstrong for not retreating far enough at the free kick, which is about to be taken by Stephen Kingsley. His Hearts get an opportunity here to try and threaten the Kilmarnock goal. It's going to be Stephen Kingsley pretty much midway inside the Kelly half, left of centre, as Hearts look to trouble Will Dennis for more or less the first time in the game. It is Kingsley to sweep it, and it's glanced onto the back post and comes to Kent, but he can't do anything with it, and it's a comfortable take for Will Dennis.
I think this is a new signing. Vargas is about to come on.
Yeah, Vargas and young Aidan Denham, who came on in Trondheim as well for I think what was just his second Hearts appearance, and he's about to make his third from the bench as well, as Hearts look for something different.
This has to be Kagawa this time, and then I would take Devlin off because of his booking.
There's a few Hearts players just treading a little bit of a fine line. They're not going to take Shankland off, are they? Here come the changes then. Tagawa's one of them, who's going to be replaced by the aforementioned Kenneth Vargas, a new signing, Costa Rican forward. And it is Devlin, Alan's called it absolutely spot on, who will be replaced by young Aidan Denham, 19 years old, central midfielder.
I just think tiredness, Devlin he plays on the edge, he's already been booked. It's a good decision by the management team to get him off, because he's tired. You just never know, he'll overrun the ball or he'll go into something, and then Hearts are down to 10 men. Shankland has to watch as well. Atkinson the same, has to watch, as does Armstrong now.
It's a free kick to Kilmarnock, taken short. Kennedy flips it into the area. Finlay wins the header, but out comes Xander Clark to take that one pretty comfortably. Still 0-0 here then, 68 minutes gone in the game, and it's looking more and more like one goal might decide it, if it's to be decided at all. Xander Clark preparing to kick long. Boyce takes it down, a nice first touch, lays it back to Haring, just 10 yards inside Kilmarnock's half, up to Shankland. Vargas now with his first touch in a Hearts shirt, back to his left back Stephen Kingsley. The attempted cross came off Vargas, and it will be a Kilmarnock throw-in over on the far side. The Kelly Wright, they've yet to go to the bench. Kyle Vassell, their new captain, was an obvious option there if they're looking for a change up front at least. Here's Boyce picking up about 35 yards from goal, just tries to play it into the path of Shankland, but Finlay had a close eye on that one and just knocks it clear from the edge of his own penalty area. Picked up by Kent, who'll go back to his goalkeeper. Xander Clark now closed down by Kennedy.
Oh, no.
That's a poor pass. Armstrong will pick up the loose ball, right hand side for Hart. Back comes Vargas, and then down goes Armstrong. The assistant gives the free kick or at least indicates that it should be a free kick to Kilmarnock, right down at the corner flag as Haring and Vargas went in on Armstrong, and Kelly will have the chance just a few yards away from the corner flag on their right hand side to create some more danger here. Still 0-0 though, almost 70 played.
I think Haring's in a bit of trouble as well. This will be a free kick to Kilmarnock, so when the ball comes in, Haring's going to be off, and he's one of their main guys in the air. Kilmarnock have caused a bit of problems with their set plays. They're a big side when you look at Mayo and Dees. Finlay's gone up there as well. They're a big side.
Yeah, it's a bit of bother here for Peter Haring, who gets treatment over on the far side of the stadium. It was Connor Wilkinson, incidentally, who got that goal for Motherwell against Hibernian, and Kyle Vassell looks like he's ready to come on here.
I don't think Derek will want to make too many changes, Alistair. Probably Vassell, like you touched on, would be the change, because you don't want to upset the flow of the game. Kilmarnock are kind of bossing it to an extent. They're not under any pressure. You make changes, you give the impetus to Hearts, take the energy away from Kilmarnock. So I would think it would only be Vassell at the minute, and see how the rest of the next 10 minutes pans out, and then the last 10 minutes see where, if they need to change some tired legs. But I can't see him making wholesale changes to upset the rhythm.
So Kelly have a free kick with Peter Haring on the touchline now after treatment, but it will be Kennedy, cuts it back. McGuinness doesn't get a hold of the shot, and it's easy for Denham to clear. Watson returns it into the penalty area. It comes. There's Mayo across goal, and it's just ahead of Watkins. He couldn't slide in to make contact and knock it home. His Hearts live dangerously.
It's a really poor ball across to McGuinness. If it's slipped on the grass, there's no reason to fire it in bouncing. He comes on, he's in acres of space, but they managed to work it, and it was a good ball across. I think it was a shot rather than a cross, but we'll give him it.
Yeah, either way, it didn't end up in the back of the net. But here's Watson with another long throw in from the right hand side. Dees can't make it. Fired in by Kennedy, and it comes off the face of Lyons, as it looked like it might have been destined for the back of the net, but for his teammate's intervention. He knew nothing about that, Brad Lyons. Matty Kennedy really got a hold of the shot, but Lyons was the unlucky Kelly player, just 12 yards out, blocking the effort and saving Xander Clark the effort himself. of keeping it out as Watkins picks up, and it's Kelly definitely on top at this juncture in the game. It's Ndaba, left hand side, swings it in, back post. Kingsley nods it down to Xander Clark. Cool defending from the left fullback, and Clark bowls it out for Boyce. Boyce can't get onto it. Mayo steps in, away from Boyce, little step over, away from Vargas as well. Might have had the advantage there, but David Dickinson blows for the free kick Kelly's way.
I don't get Clark what he's doing. Hearts are under the cosh here a bit. They're tired legs after the trip. He collects the ball and he throws it quickly. Just calm the game down, take the sting out of it. Kilmarnock have got the impetus just now. They're the team on the front foot.
Vassell is about to come on. It's 73 minutes in, and it's Marley Watkins who's applauding the several hundred Kelly fans away to our left, who have got to be enjoying what they're seeing, but what they would really enjoy would be a goal to reward their efforts so far as Watkins trots off, and on comes the new Kelly captain Kyle Vassell for his third appearance of the season, as Armstrong stands over the free kick. It's about 15 yards or so inside the Hearts half, right of centre. Armstrong sends it in, Finlay stretching across goal, it comes, it's knocked away by Rowles, and then Haring plays it off Dees. It will be a Hearts goal kick, but if the goal is coming, it looks very much like it will come for the visitors. Still 0-0 though.
Well, and if you're a Kilmarnock fan, if they can play like this, like they did last week and again today, you're in for a treat this season. They look a really good side. They're well organised, you can see that. They're disciplined at the back. In the middle of the park, they've got legs in there as well, and up front, with Armstrong and Kennedy, they just need someone to put the ball in the back of the net, and Vassell coming on might give them that.
Boyce though gets the flick on to Clark's clearance, but no Hearts player can latch onto that, and it's tamely behind for a goal kick to Kilmarnock. And Will Dennis, like last week I have to say at Rugby Park against Rangers, has had precious little to do.
A very little bit, and what he has done, he's done well. Like I said, he came out for that one early in the second half, and probably thinking don't come for it, but he's made the decision and he's took it on himself. But he's kicked well, he's commanded his area, so he's been unflustered, to be honest. And for a new goalkeeper joining the club, you thought he'd be put under more pressure, but he seems to be handling it.
Sliding in there went Brad Lyons, up to Vassell it goes, he can't hold on to it, but he's got a free kick, and the Hearts fans aren't happy, and I must say this occasion I agree with him. I didn't think there was an awful lot in that, Alan.
No, I would agree with you. I don't think it was a foul, but again, Atkinson kicks the ball away. He's going to have to stop it. Kennedy's right over in the referee's face here.
So it is a free kick to Kilmarnock, left of centre, about 35 yards from goal. And Danny Armstrong has scored from this kind of range. It would take a spectacular effort. Looks more likely to be a ball into the box, but and probably more likely to be from Matty Kennedy with the right foot, but we shall see. Both players, Armstrong and Kennedy, over it. Does look like Kennedy's going to take the shot on. Indeed he does, but it's off target. Not too far off target, but no trouble on that occasion for Xander Clark. And with 15 minutes left to play, it's still Hearts nil, Kilmarnock nil.
I think Hearts again will be looking to go to the bench and try and change the flow of the game. It's been all Kilmarnock in that last 10 minutes. They need to do something.
Who would you bring on, Alan? Looking at that was Alan Forrest.
Forrest for a bit of pace. I think they need pace up front. And then do you take Oda off, who's not really been in the game in the second half, and ask Forrest to go and try and, if he can, run it in Daba.
You need someone who's going to a ball carrier. Everything's in front of them and very in the air. There's no one getting it and run, whereas Kennedy and Armstrong will get it at the feet and they'll carry it up the park, and that's what Alan Forrest does. That's his game.
You maybe think Atkinson as well, with the amount of times he's kicked the ball away. Do you take him off? He's been booked.
Haring has it, middle of the park, back to Kent and out to Atkinson. Comes in off the right hand side and finds Boyce midway inside the Killie half, just left of centre, up towards the edge of the box he comes, away from Watson. Left hand side is Kingsley, flashes it into the 6-yard box, away by Dees as far as Denham heads it down to his central midfield partner Haring. Haring helps out to the left. Can Kingsley keep that one in? Yes he can. Up to the byline he comes, sliding challenge comes in from McGuinness to knock it behind, from Armstrong, I beg your pardon, knock it behind for a Hearts corner. And at last in this second period, Hearts fans have something to get behind as they have the corner on the left. 13 minutes left here at Tynecastle. It is Hearts nil, Killie nil, as it does look there's going to be more activity from the Hearts technical area, and looks like the change is going to be made ahead of this corner being taken. And it is Oda who's going to be replaced by Forrest. So there's another one Alan Preston's got right. And the other change is going to be Toby Civic, I think, coming on for Nat Atkinson. Well, he didn't say that Civic would necessarily come on, but he did say Atkinson would come off. So he got. Oh, did he? Oh, he's got a hotline to that Hearts technical area.
It's just a clean sweep. Now, when you're sitting watching it, you know you've got to say that Hearts players are getting more and more tired. Atkinson again, he's kicked the ball away, been booked, looking tired. Get him off so they can't go down to 10 men. But I think you're right, Alistair. I think one goal could win this match today.
Kingsley from the left-hand side in, swings it into the penalty area, takes a glance off a Kelly head in there and away out to this near side for a Hearts throw-in midway inside the Kelly half. And Kilmarnock would absolutely be furious if they were to lose this game. You'd have to say on the balance of play, even a point Derek McInnes might feel would be harsh on them, but certainly not to take anything. But they haven't been able to capitalise on the upper hand that they have had, and so they still have to do a bit of defending here as Boyce picks up. Little disguised pass comes through. Forrest well blocked there by Finlay. Brilliant block really from the central defender. Kelly eventually cleared the lines completely, knocked out of play. But the Hearts fans, you can hear, they believe there's still a victory in this game for them to follow up on the opening day victory at McDermott Park. That one came late, in all honesty. 2 goals came, well, one in the injury time from Shanklin, but Oda's goal came around about now. Here is Forrest on the right hand side, one of the Hearts subs back in field for Kent, and now it's Rowles helps it on to Haring, about 10 yards inside the Killie half, left of centre, coming forward, slides it forward to Vargas, back to Haring, and out to the left hand side for Kingsley. Forrest has come all the way across to the left hand side, he plays it back to Kingsley, crossing opportunity, only Shanklin in there, it's over his head. Up comes Civic from the back to the right hand side to retrieve the ball, puts it back into the middle. There's Dees to meet it at the front post, knocks it away. Watson helps it on, but it's picked up by Rowles, just kept in by Kingsley. Apologies if there was any bad language picked up by our microphones there. I didn't catch it myself, but I gather maybe some did cross the airwaves, so apologies for any offence caused as we approach the final 10 minutes here at Tynecastle. Still goalless between Hearts and Kilmarnock. 1-0 Motherwell lead against Hibs across at Fir Park with about the same 10 minutes remaining, you would imagine, as Hearts get the free kick, much to Derek McInnes' consternation, just outside his technical area. Over on the left hand side as Hearts attack as they look to snatch the 3 points. And at this stage of the season particularly, as much as the performance hasn't been terrific, the points are very much all that matters, especially ahead of a big European night back here at Tynecastle on Thursday. Kingsley's free kick, into the box it comes, headed on and behind eventually for a Hearts corner on this near side.
The subs have certainly made a difference to Hearts. They've got the front foot of the game. Kilmarnock suddenly sitting deeper and deeper, can't seem to get up the park, and there's a wee bit of pressure building in this last 10 minutes, and hopefully Kilmarnock can hang on, but they need to get back to what they were good at, getting up the park. They just seem to be content sitting in, and Hearts will just keep coming then. Here's
Kingsley then, right hand side with the left foot, about to swing this one into the penalty area. To the 6-yard box it comes, and Daba didn't deal with it, but it was Kyle McGuinness back there to get it clear inside his 6-yard box, I think, as Vargas wins the ball back from Armstrong on the Hearts left, plays it back in towards the edge of the box. Kingsley with the header, away by Mayo. Mayo urges his teammates to get out as much as they can as Hearts pick up once more through Denham on the halfway line, and now back with Rowles. Out to the right hand side it comes to Forrest. Just over 8 minutes of the 90 left as Boyce picks up possession, right hand side, better from Hearts, into the box it comes. Shanklin doesn't really connect with the effort, and it drifts well wide. Wasn't quite sure what to do with that, I don't think, and in the end it drifted wide of Will Dennis's right hand post, and it remains Hearts 0, Kilmarnock 0.
I think you've seen it late there. I think someone in front of him just took his eye off it.
Frankie Kent running in. There's a good ball in by Boyce, Kent just couldn't get there, and then it's sort of behind Shanklin.
Yeah, he couldn't make the connection he wanted, and that was why Will Dennis remained untested, and he takes the goal kick way over the halfway line. He launches it, flicked on by Watson. Kennedy gives chase, but Rowles pokes it clear. Mayo having to backtrack with Vargas breathing down his neck, and that's come back off both the Costa Rican and then the Kelly defender, and Mayo forced into the foul on Vargas. It's a cheap free kick to give away, and Hearts have it in a good position right over in the left flank as they come forward about 16 yards from the corner flag, and this is a good opportunity for Hearts to put it into the mixer.
Yeah, Mayo had 5 or 6 yards there on Vargas, and he slows down, allowing Vargas to close him down. He gets a break of the ball, then he just pushes him. Needless free kick.
There has been a better period just in the last 10 minutes or so from the home side, who are looking to get what might well be the clinching goal, as Kingsley prepares to take the free kick just a yard or two in from the left touchline. Into the penalty area it comes. Again, it's well defended. This time it was Kyle Vassell with the captain's armband on, heading it clear from his own penalty area. Denham recycles it back to Kingsley on the left hand side, fires it back in, back post. Kent gets his head to it, can't direct it back across goal, and he has to retrieve it himself once more. Back to Civic, just outside the box on the right hand side. Haring just dinks it into the feet of Shanklin with his back to goal. Back out to Kent, helps it into the box. Dees with the header, clear as far as Denham, midway inside the Killie half, just swivels away from Lyons. Good composed play from the teenager. Haring back into the box, Boyce's back post, tries to nod it back to Vargas. Vargas with his back to goal, can't find a teammate, but Hearts have won it back. It's Kingsley, now Forrest, left hand side of the box, trying to weave his way past McGuinness, but McGuinness wasn't fooled, and Killie able to clear, and it's Vassell who picks up right hand side for Kilmarnock. Hearts though working hard, but Vassell working just as hard. Sliding in there goes Brad Lyons. Lyons is going to be in trouble here. It's just a yellow that's coming out. It was a sliding challenge in the middle of the park, and Lyons incurs the wrath of David Dickinson. The Hearts fans wanted a red. It was certainly a fully committed challenge, and one that nowadays in the commentary position you're never quite sure how the referee's going to call that.
I thought it was a good tackle, to be honest. I thought the young boy turned into him, and that's what happened. Is his momentum then took him into Brad Lyons committed to win the ball. He never seen him coming. He just thought he could turn and play, but it's one of those. Another day it's a great tackle, yeah. Alan. I still like to think today it's a great tackle, but I seem to be getting older and older these days.
There's another goal gone in at Fir Park, and you'll hear who it's from just after this free kick from Stephen Kingsley has been taken, because Hearts are looking for the opening goal. Here's a poor effort at a free kick though, and Vassell easily able to clear. Back it comes though to Denham on the halfway line. He's looked good since coming on. Flicks it out to the left hand side for Forrest. Forrest brings it down. Can he get the ball into the box? It's one inside a corner. Brian, can you tell us quickly what's happened at Fir Park?
It's Motherwell 2, Hibernian 0. Mika Bereth with his first goal for the club. The long ball played forward by Lennon Miller into the path of Bereth. It looked as if Will Fish had got the better of them, but Bereth won the ball back and then drilled the ball low beyond David Marshall. Motherwell 2, Hibernian 0.
Thanks, Brian. The corner's taken, but Hearts can make nothing of it. But Vargas has won it back just outside the penalty area. 4 minutes to go here, plus stoppage time at Tynecastle. Civic back into the box, but Dees, who's been immense again at the back, clears from the edge of the 18-yard area. Rowles just inside the Killie half, plays it square for Kent, and then gets it back via Denham. That's a good ball forward for Vargas, about 25 yards from goal. What can he do here? The Costa Rican runs into trouble, breaks back for Haring though. Now Kingsley, left hand side, up against Armstrong. Kingsley gives chase, but he won't catch that one, and it will be a goal kick to Kilmarnock. 3.5 minutes of the 90 left. Hearts 0, Kilmarnock 0.
See the free kicks, Alistair, it baffles me sometimes that why they don't swing it in the way and towards the goal. Any header then for a defender, anyone misses it going across it, it could bounce in the far corner. Hearts, every free kick has been an out-swinging free kick. Very rarely you see somebody score with an out-swinging free kick.
Always
with the first
talk,
contact.
Gary, you're right. Bend it in, aim for that far post. Someone might get a flick on it, a defender could flick it. It could end up in the back of the net if it's on target.
Hearts have it just outside the centre circle inside their own half. 3 minutes left, plus stoppage time. No goals. As Rowles finds Haring inside his own half, out to the left hand side for Kingsley. Kingsley quickly closed down by Armstrong, having to go back the way and hold the winger off. Back it goes to Rowles, who in turn plays it to his goalkeeper Xander Clark, and out to Kent, and now out to the right hand side for Civic, the substitute. Forward for a fellow sub, Forrest, who spins on the halfway line and comes in field, finds Boyce midway inside the Kelly half, helps it on to Vargas. Vargas on the right foot, that's just over the top from the Costa Ricans. Looked lively since coming on, but couldn't test Will Dennis there. Hearts nil, Kilmarnock nil.
Yeah, he's helped change the flow of the game for Hearts, Vargas. He's just given them an energy and an enthusiasm that was sadly lacking for about 75 minutes. He's come on, he's taken people on, he's tried his best, you know, and he looks like a good addition.
Kelly going to make a late change with Rory McKenzie, who's going to come on.
McGuinness,
record appearance holder, and it's going to be Kyle McGuinness, as Gary says, who makes way. 374 appearances now, Rory McKenzie.
I think Forrest, even Denham, I think coming on has certainly changed the flow of the game. The impetus to run forward, to look forward, to pass forward. It's given boys space to get in the ball, but everything else was pedestrian up to then, Alan.
Yeah, Hearts haven't played well today. They just look as if they're short and match sharpness more than anything. They've not played at a pace. It's been comfortable for Kilmarnock. I take nothing away from Kilmarnock. I think they've been excellent. I really do. Defensively solid, middle of the park. They've been competitive, and up front in the wider areas especially, they look very lively.
Yeah, well, we talked about their ambitions of perhaps troubling the top six this season. One thing that does appear to me safe to say is that they won't be involved in a relegation battle again this season. They look a much improved side. Some astute acquisitions from Derek McInnes, but still a bit of work to do to ensure they get something from this game. Hearts coming forward, and they have been better in this last 15 minutes or so, Hearts, but Kilmarnock still have had the better of the opportunities and tested Xander Clark more than Hearts have troubled Will Dennis, who will collect this ball through without any bother whatsoever. Last 30 seconds of the 90. We'll keep an eye on Ian Snedden, the fourth officials board, which is about to be shown to the crowd to see exactly how much time will be added on, as Will Dennis prepares to clear from hand at the edge of his penalty area. Vassell beaten in the jump there by Kingsley, but it comes off the head of the Hearts left back and out for a throw in to Kelly over on the far side. Watson wants to launch this one. Five minutes of added on time to be played. The Hearts fans trying to rouse their side for a last hurrah here to earn them all 3 points, but in all honesty, I'm not sure they would be fully deserving of that. But it's gone all the way back to the Kelly keeper Will Dennis from a pretty promising position, but he launches it. Civic heads it down, but only to Matty Kennedy midway inside the Hearts half, checking in from the left on his right foot. Big switch of play looking for Armstrong. Kingsley steps in though, and now Vargas just lofts it onto Boyce. Boyce will try and return it to him, but he was closed down by Watson, who's turned in another excellent mature performance as Kelly come forward once more, but it's too strong for Kyle Vassell to get onto, and Hearts quickly get it moving as they try and snatch a winner. Back now with Kent into the feet of Forrest. There's an essential area just outside the centre circle. 1 minute of the 5 of injury time's been played as Kingsley gallops forward down the left hand side. Will he catch that? It's a lot to ask of him at this stage of the game. He has managed to keep it in according to the officials. Looks like it's gone.
I don't think the official on this side was up with play to see.
Kingsley made up incredible ground to do that. Here is Shanklin coming in off the left hand side, edge of the box. His shot is blocked. Good work from Denham. Comes back to Shanklin. Now Civic, edge of the box. Can he get the shot away? He's forced out to the right hand side, and it will be a Hearts throw in. 3.5 minutes left of injury time as Kilmarnock make another late change. Looks like Liam Donnelly to me who's going to come on, and Danny Armstrong the player to make way. Derek McInnes will be keen to ensure that, having played so well in the game, they don't leave with nothing. Liam Donnelly just looking to shore things up slightly for the final few minutes of stoppage time as Toby Civic prepares to take the throw in about 15 yards away from the right corner flag as Hearts attack. Back it goes to Frankie Kent. Closed down quickly by Vassell. Poor control there by Kent, you have to say, and Kelly have won it back. Vassell into Mackenzie, he's taken out by Rose. Advantage played as Donnelly picks up. Good sliding challenge there from Vargas, and that allows Denham to pick up and charge forward. He's taken out of play by Mackenzie. That'll be a booking for Mackenzie, who's furious that Kelly didn't get a free kick a minute ago, but in fairness it was a decent advantage, it appeared to me.
It was a great advantage, and Donnelly should have slid the boy Watson in. He was clean in and goal, but he hung on to it, and then, to be fair, it's Rory's anger for not getting his foul there as he takes out the boy Denham. Stops the flow of the game, to be honest, because Hearts were in the ascendancy there, but it was a great opportunity to go 1v1 with the keeper, and Donnelly, not known for his attacking flair, shall we say, got caught in the ball.
Yeah, just on the park, and maybe not quite up to match speed if we're being kind to him. A couple of minutes left of injury time then, as Haring prepares to take this free kick. Hearts looking for the winning goal. As a penalty at Fir Park. We'll cross there in just a second as Kingsley picks up possession. That game on less of a knife edge than this one, as it's behind for a corner. Brian, quickly the penalty.
And it's been scored by Hibernian. Adam Lefondre on target. It was a handball. We think it was Mugabe. There was a header by Doyd. Certainly wasn't much in it. It would probably have trickled through to the goalkeeper Liam Kelly. There was very few claims, however the referee instantly stopped play and it was looked at, and a penalty was awarded and scored by Adam Lefondre. We're now deep into stoppage time. 4 of 6 added minutes played here. It's now Motherwell 2, Hibernian 1.
Well, that corner was taken and comfortably dealt with by Will Dennis, and it's swiftly up the other end as Kilmarnock look for a late winner, but that's cleared. Robbie Dees picks up though. Kent wins it from Vassell. It's good play from the centre back. He's taken out by Donnelly. He'll go into the referee's book, as neither side wants to lose late on, and so there's a few dubious challenges going in to make sure that play doesn't break up the other end, and that's Donnelly joining Lyons and Mackenzie of Kilmarnock in the referee's notebook, and the free kick will be taken. It'll be more or less the last action, I would imagine. 30 seconds left of the 5 minutes that were initially added on. We've had a few minor stoppages since then, so maybe just a bit more than 5 minutes to be played, but this surely is the last opportunity. Another apology for any bad language picked up as Kingsley prepares to take the free kick inside the centre circle, but Hearts have thrown plenty of bodies forward to the edge of the penalty area. In it comes, back post rises, it's Kent, but it falls for Lyons, and Lyons just smashes it down the field, out of play over on the far side. It'll be a Hearts throw-in. We've gone beyond the 5 minutes added on. It looks like it's going to end goalless here at Tynecastle. It's been a highly competitive match. Kilmarnock have given at least as good as they've got, but neither side has been able to find a way through, and it looks very much like they're both going to have to settle for a point. Both will remain unbeaten on 4 points, and there indeed is David Dickinson's full-time whistle to confirm as much. A game of few chances, it has to be said, but the best of them did fall to the visitors, albeit Peter Haring flashed a long-range effort just wide in the first half, and then Matty Kennedy at the other end had an effort tipped wide by Clark before. The best effort of the first half was a Kyle McGuinness flashing header from a Kennedy cross that was well saved by Xander Clark, and then in the stroke of half time Lawrence Shankland had a penalty claim that was waved away by David Dickinson. Again in the second half, few chances of real note, you would have to say. Armstrong had a header wide when he should probably have hit the target, and then Stuart Finlay with a rasping drive from about 30 yards didn't look to be too far off target, but Xander Clark did see it fly wide. At the other end, there wasn't too much for Hearts to shout about, in all honesty, and they will have to be better on Thursday night if they're to overcome Rosenborg in the 2-1 deficit in that Europa Conference League tie. That will be live with us here on BBC Scotland, as will Servette against Rangers on television. But Tynecastle this afternoon, it is finished. Hearts 0, Kilmarnock 0.
On digital radio,
FM,
online at BBC Sport Scotland,
your smart speaker,
and BBC Sounds.
This is Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
Scottish football lives here.
So Hearts and Kilmarnock both unbeaten after 2 matches in the league this season. Neither side conceded a goal as yet. We have had goals, of course, at Fir Park deep into stoppage time. Brian McLaughlin.
Yeah, we're 7 minutes into 6 minutes added on here, Richard. But of course, the scoreline is Motherwell 2, Hibernian 1. The additional time coming after that penalty claim and eventually given by referee Matt McDermott after a handball by Mugabe. Indeed, the final whistle has now gone here at Fir Park. The cheers you can hear for the home fans. It's finished 2-1 to the home side. All 3 goals coming in the second half. Bierth, who came on as a substitute after an hour, he has really made a difference for Motherwell. He bullied Lewis Stevenson down the right hand side, brilliantly cut the ball back into the path of Connor Wilkinson for the opener, and then with 5 minutes left of regulation time, Lennon Miller, a beautiful pass through the heart of the middle of the Hibernian defence into the pass of Beard. It looked as if Will Fish had the better of the Danish under-21 international, but he fought back, grabbed the ball and then it really was a terrific finish, right-footed into the bottom corner of the goal. And then came that Hibs goal to give them some hope, but it came after a Deutsch header was handled by Mugabe. Referee Matt McDermott instituted VAR, who had a look at it and then decided it was a penalty, and Lefondre was the finish. But the huge Hibs fans here, 1,800, it's back-to-back defeats now for Hibernian. However, Motherwell 4 points from the first 2 games. Of course, Thursday night, huge now for Hibernian. They head to Switzerland, but it's defeat again in the league here for Lee Johnson's side. It finished here at Fir Park. Motherwell 2, Hibernian 1.
So 2-1 win for Motherwell. Goalless Hearts against Kilmarnock after just 2 matches this season. Celtic and St Mirren, the only sides with 100% success rates. 2 wins out of 2. Hearts, Motherwell, Kilmarnock all on 4 points. Rangers, Ross County on 3 points. It's Dundee, Aberdeen, Livingston on a point apiece. And back-to-back defeats for both Hibernian and for St Johnstone. That does not make happy reading for fans of Hibs or the Perth Saints. Earlier, of course, Aberdeen 1, Celtic 3. The full-time scoreline from Pittodrie in England. There was a 2-2 draw earlier between Brentford and Spurs. And in the 4:30 kickoff, it's Chelsea 0, Liverpool 1. Diaz with the only goal so far in that one. The women's the Premier League, the SWPL kicked off this afternoon, of course. Full-time scoreline, Spartans 1, Rangers 6 in one of the earlier kickoffs. Partick Thistle were 4-0 winners against Dundee United. A hat-trick there for Cara Henderson. They also had Claire Docherty sent off in the first half, so the 10 women getting the victory there. It was always going to be tough for Montrose ladies, you felt, in the Premier League. They've just been beaten 9-0 by Celtic. Catherine Lafersky helping herself to 4 goals there. There's a narrow win for Aberdeen, 3-2 against Motherwell at Balmoral Stadium. Half-time, it's Hamilton 0, Hearts 2 in the only game that is currently going on. It's a 10 past 5 kickoff between Glasgow City and Hibernian. Now we're about to be continuing the regular programming on FM. Sports Sound will press on to bring you a reaction from today's later games. So if you do want to continue with the football, you're going to have to make sure you're tuned into either BBC Radio Scotland 810 medium wave. You'll get us online, of course, at bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland, or if you're listening on one of your digital devices, you should search for BBC Radio Scotland Extra. So if you want to stick with Sports Sound, get reaction to football, medium wave online, or BBC Radio Scotland Extra on digital. We'll be continuing on those frequencies and channels. It'll be your request with Gary Innes on FM.